Chi-town memories fade fast. Remember when your shit was class? Now you just another headline pass. Mama's boy turned to a mess, that's facts. Used to rock the Louis V backpack. Now you lost up in your own trap. Screaming about some bullshit that's whack. People ain't even looking back. Damn, damn. What will mama say now? This boy lost his way. What will mama say now? Baby, please come back today. Fuck what you thought, you ain't invisible. Your thing is can't buy back them principles. Mental health ain't no excuse to act a fool. Your kids gon' Google all the shit at school. Spit and hate you like it's cool. Man, you used to be nobody's tool. Independent, now you just alone. Burn every bridge that led you home. What will mama say now? Diamond's boy lost his way. What will mama say now? Baby, please come back today. Hey, how you doing, bottom? Skirt, yeah. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. No, I ain't shy. The song gotta see. The daddy wildin' on that TMZ. Reputation crashing like a burned out star. Can't blame the meds for who you are. Drop that Billy shit, but who gon' care? 2025 ain't nobody there. Remember when you moved the culture, G? Now you just another tragedy. What will mama say now? Honest crying. What will mama say now? Lost boy, come back home. What will mama say? Oh yeah. Whoa, whoa. Well, I want a woman down.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm back in the building. Back in the building for another stream. And man, we got some stuff to talk about. Kanye in the news again, man. All the wrong reasons again. So, I'm not going to be like reading the tweets. I'm just gonna find it. I'm just gonna go to the video that I found that can explain every single tweet, basically his rants that he's been going on, and now currently right now he's still going on Twitter, and man, he's just saying some of the most rambunctious things known to man, and it's pretty funny how all of this is happening right now, just because of the fact that I don't know, maybe he's using it as a way to distract people from the fact that Kendrick won 5 Grammys and he's about to perform for the Super Bowl. Also stating that he's going to be performing at the Super Bowl in 2026, which I really find that hard to believe that they're actually going to put Kanye West on the stage. They might just, I don't know, they'll probably get any and everybody that they can besides Kanye for next year's Super Bowl halftime show. So I don't know why he keeps saying that. It's just how I feel. Um, so yeah, let me go find that video real quick because yeah, I'm not gonna lie, he's been tweeting since like or Xing, however we want to call it. He's been doing it since well, like the day before yesterday. I don't know. Maybe he was just testing his limits to see what would happen or whatever. So, um, this is gonna be a video from Chig Smooth. See what he's talking about here. See what he's telling us.
YouTube. Shit.
Shout out to Chigs, man.
Yeah. You know what to do, Chick. Listen, Chick Smooth. Hey, Chick Smooth. Appreciate all the coverage that you've been doing. I've been watching your shit for a while. I just subscribed to your shit too, bro.
Hey man, somebody gotta tell Kanye West it's 2025, my boy. These crash outs are not hitting like they used to. You guys know how this
You
goes,
know,
right?
before I
Anytime
even-
Kanye West has a project coming
Before
out,
I even
or maybe
continue, that is true. He does have an album coming out called Bully. And if you remember in my last stream, like it was what is it called? He was being interviewed by Justin LeBoy and just basically talking about a whole array of things. I these rants on Twitter are nothing like his 2010 rants, like when he was going crazy during his My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy phase. He was saying and doing some of the most outlandish things that celebrity could do at the time. And today's crash outs and the things he's saying, like, bro, he's still saying that like slavery was a choice and just saying a whole bunch of nonsense. But it's not hitting like it's supposed to because like I feel like Kanye's past his prime as far as like his rap music goes. But let's continue.
he's got a song coming out. He conveniently loses his mind, goes crazy, tells people he's autistic. He basically throws shit at the wall, and anything that sticks, he says it. Now, after Kanye West pulled up to the Grammys with his wife Bianca butt naked,
Unbelievable.
a lot of people just didn't care. Bro, we've seen your wife naked
Unbelievable.
damn near every single week. There's nothing
Like,
new about it.
And not even just that. We've seen all of your girlfriends, dude. Somehow, Kim Kardashian was just nude on purpose at times. Amber Rose was nude at a time that it leaked. Like most of your girlfriends that you've been associated with, except for like the one that you had like way back in like college dropout, bro. We've seen all of them, and they all did whatever to like put themselves in the limelight, just as you have done to put yourself in the limelight. So it's like, and the crazy part about this woman who's his wife now is that she's like an architect. She's an engineer, bro. She out here doing this weird stuff, bro. It make her I don't know, like it brings down whatever professionalism or whatever knowledge that she has because she's like standing with and associated with this cat, bro. Like it's weird.
About it. It's not exciting.
It's
We don't
not.
care anymore. Nobody was truly shocked. Nobody was outraged. And I've got a theory that this actually pissed off Kanye West even more. I'm sure
Which
Kanye
is
West
probably why he
wanted
went
everybody to
on a
cancel
full
him,
rant,
but
bro.
instead, people just ignored him and moved on.
Exactly.
So Kanye West goes back home to come up with something else that's gonna piss everybody off. This is now the only way Kanye West feels like he can promote himself by trying to
Mhm.
rage bait people online. Now, a couple hours ago, Kanye West tweeted
Now,
saying,
see,
"Free
this
Puff." And then he
is
goes on
wild.
to follow him on Instagram, which makes
Wild.
Diddy the second person that Kanye is following on
Wild.
Instagram. And if that wasn't enough, Kanye West goes on to gaslight everybody. Kanye West tweeted saying, "Yo, all these celebrity niggas and bitches is pussy. Y'all will watch our brother rot and never say shit. They trying to prove a point, and y'all fucking know that. And sitting laughing at the fucking internet on Instagram."
X. If anybody uses X, there's actually like a like what do you call it? A fact checker or any tweet that is not like that is pushed as like misinformation. Somebody like they actually said at the bottom of that tweet that slavery was not in fact a choice, and they started like going through the history of everything. not only does like X think you're wrong, but not only is your tweet wrong, but X thinks it's misinformation and they have to like basically like put it at the bottom of your tweet and say like, yo, this is like misinformation and African Americans did actually not have a choice with slavery. So it's like it's very offensive. It's not even offensive at this point. It's just like he's just saying stuff. He's just saying stuff to like get a rise out of people, and it's I liked it better. Honestly, I liked it better when he wasn't on the internet. When he took that little break and he was off the internet, it was perfect. It was gold. It was amazing. When he wasn't saying anything and just focused on something else besides having a phone in his hand and just saying whatever to like get a rise out of people. And then thinking like after he says all of that, people are gonna still turn around and go listen to his music. No, sir, you do not make the same music that you made when you were in your graduation phase or you were in your college dropout phase or even your My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy phase. You will never be there ever again. And that's the that's the thing that I think that is actually coming down to the wire for him, and he doesn't want that to be what it is. But that is what it is. You will never make the music you made before that drew me in as a fan, that drew in a lot of people as fans. Like it'll never happen again. And you're holding on, and your legacy is declining each and every time you speak. And what's even worse about this is that he has autism, and it's like there's nobody that can tell this dude like, bro, like I don't know, throw your phone in the water, deactivate all your accounts. Like I know, like he says he can't be canceled, but it's like the best way to, so to speak, quote unquote, cancel somebody is to just ignore every single thing that they're saying. It's like after a while, it's just like, okay, bro, gone. Like, like whatever you're selling, bro, just drop whatever you're selling. Drop whatever you're selling so we can stop hearing you talk. Like so we can stop seeing tweets, stop like seeing reports because it's like it doesn't matter at the end of the day. What you're saying doesn't matter. We know who it is saying it, and we've been here before.
All you, please come at me. That's how we spot the coons. Let these white people and Jewish people tell you what to do and say. Fuck Diageo and fuck all y'all niggas in advance. What y'all gonna do? Cancel my sneaker deal? Cancel my record deal? Freeze my accounts? Fuck all y'all niggas. Slavery is a choice. I'm speaking my mind now. He then goes on to FaceTime Diddy's son, Christian Combs, and he writes in the caption saying, yo, a son to his dad. For every son whose dad is locked up, right or wrong, I want.
You can't even compare any person whose son is locked up in an unjustly manner to Diddy and his son and why he's locked up for what he's locked up for. It's like a disgrace to those people who have cases against Diddy and have receipts and all this stuff built up to bring him down and bring down his empire, only for somebody like Kanye or Ye, as he's being known as now, to come in and just completely just violate the people who are victims. Didn't we see a video of Cassie getting mollywopped by Diddy? Or was that just AI? I don't think that was AI. I think that was an actual an actual video. Did he doing that? And he did it. So it's like there's no going back. There's no explaining that. It's there. That's what, and that's only one receipt. One receipt. That's one victim versus the 30 plus victims or more out there that have been done bad, whether it be somebody who was signed to his record label or somebody who just met him at a club, whatever it is. You're telling those victims, nah, he's puff. He didn't do none of that stuff. They're trying to bring they're trying to devise a scheme against him because he's a black man and he's powerful. No. 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 No, that's not it.
I want y'all to listen to Dave Chappelle's joke very close at this time. Let's see how funny it gets when families are separated, especially black families. Kanye West then goes on to plead with President Trump, saying, please free my brother Puff. And finally, to piss everybody off even more, looks like Kanye West is now going to be selling Diddy's merch. He said Yeezy and Sean John collab available at Yeezy.com. Me and Puff splitting this 50-50 like we just...
The only person he's pissing off is the victim. That's the number one. I want to say that. He's only pissing off the victims. He's only making them mad. He's only making people who are going after Puff, who are victims, want to sue him because he's like, free Puff. Like, bro, what? What are you talking about? We've all seen how this is going, how this is about to, how this has been, and how it's we're all watching to see how it plays out, and we know how it's going to play out. It's just another one of these things where the same way Russell Simmons had all those things going on, and everything finally got built up, and he miraculously got out of Dodge. Diddy couldn't do that. They made sure to get him before he tried to, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know about this.
Just before they locked him up. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, man. The funniest part about this is that 2 years ago, Kanye West hated Diddy's guts. Not only did Kanye West call him a friend, but he also threatened to make an example out of Diddy. And keep in mind, Diddy is still facing those sex trafficking charges. It's now gotten to a point that every week there's another woman coming out and accusing Diddy of doing something to her. And you still got that video of Diddy chasing Cassie and beating her by the elevators. So hold up, Kanye. You want people to look past all that wild shit that Diddy is being accused and charged for just because you want to work?
I just think he's talking. I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares nothing about Diddy being in jail. I think he's just talking. He wants people to be mad. He's like at the end of the rant from yesterday, he said, "I was just joking and it was an experiment. I love gay people. I love Jewish people. I love white people. I love my black women. I love fat people. I love my fat women." Like, bro. And then commences to like re-say everything that he said before. It's I don't know, he doesn't know what he wants to do. He just wants people to be mad. And then thinking with that engineering that he's doing, that social engineering that he's doing, that it's gonna produce results and produce people wanting to listen to his music after all that, which it's not gonna be, because everything he's dropped, everything after. And I'll even go back and say the Donda album wasn't something that was a masterpiece. The Donda album, from the Donda album all the way up until what is this album with Ty Dolla Signs? The song with the album with Ty Dolla Signs, which by the way, not that great either. And then now he's about to come out with something else. Yeah, if this is what he's trying to do to produce streams and sales and stuff, this is some lowbrow stuff. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, it's like you can't even be mad now. It's just like, all right, okay, all right. Anything else?
Work with him and sell his merch.
This is a sick Negro.
This is a great example of somebody whose ego is too high for their own good.
Facts.
This man, Kanye West, really thinks he has the influence to change the narrative about Diddy. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. He's got a lot of supporters that's actually going to follow anything he does or says.
Which is
weird. And for anybody that's wondering, yes, Diddy did respond back to him. He went on his Instagram page to repost the Kanye West collaboration.
Are you kidding me? Bro, how does he have a phone in jail?
He says, thank you to my brother Ye. I have so many questions right now. Out of everything going on with Diddy right now,
he's actually
why are
selling
you
Sean
choosing
John
to
shirts?
sell Sean John merch? I know you haven't gone broke already. You still have so many assets if you need cash immediately. Hey, Kanye West, bro,
It's
go take
crazy.
your meds, my brother. We know what your
He ain't
game
gonna
plan
take them.
is, and it's not going to work
It's
this
not gonna-
time.
ain't nobody
You
gonna
really
have to go
do
listen
not
to that
have to go this route.
What is it? Billy, Bully, whatever. Ain't nobody finna go listen to
Every single time.
that. Ain't nobody
You
finna go
guys get in
listen
the
to that, bro.
comments below. What do you guys think about this collaboration?
Ain't nobody finna go listen to that garbage, garbage album project, whatever. You working with Ty Dolla $ign because Ty Dolla $ign is the only one man enough to go work with dude. I wonder who gonna collaborate with him besides Ty Dolla $ign's now. I'd like to know. Dude. As far as I'm concerned, Kid Cudi is further than you in music. Travis Scott is further than you in music, in influence, in fashion. He said F Virgil too. Like wasn't he like somebody who was like under you or somebody who was like a mentee or something like that? How do you just all of a sudden just say F him? Where wasn't he crying at wasn't he just crying at Virgil's funeral when he passed? It's so weird how dude is like wishy washy and switches up like that. It's so crazy to me. Like I don't even understand it. I don't even understand it, but I suppose, man. I mean, let me see if I can find another video. Find another video on Buddy. There we go, right there. I'm gonna do this one. Because like I said, I was thinking earlier when I was like looking at all these tweets, like how am I gonna make it possible to where I can like and read any type of tweet he has, which I cannot read any type of tweet he has because a lot of it is just offensive, like, and it's geared towards a certain community or a certain group of people. So and this is a video from Blackie Speaks. So I'm gonna see if I can't just let me see if I can't just probably hold on. See if I can't just if it go put the playback up on.
Now, just when you thought that it couldn't get any worse, here comes Kanye West with a surprise. Kanye just had his biggest meltdown yet, and it's currently going viral for saying.
Is it really a meltdown?
Things like free P Diddy. He also went off on Jewish people again. He praised Hitler, said he was a Nazi, and dropped Diddy merch while he was at it. This man is completely losing it, and obviously he's very hungry for attention. So let's give that attention to him, shall we? Definitely got a lot of shit on my mind about this topic. The other day we spoke about the stunt at the Grammys involving Kanye's wife stripping herself of her clothes, something that Kanye ended up defending in this recent Twitter rant. The guy's going off the rails, and honestly, whatever was left of the man we once knew as the genius, that man is completely gone.
Yeah,
let's go over what he said so far, and just for the record,
I think he's back. I think he's back on. Wasn't he doing like a? Wasn't he on like a? Not even a medication. Wasn't he like huffing something? He was on some type of like it was like a sedation drug or something like that. He was doing that for a while. That's why what's the name? That's why that album didn't sound right when I heard it or whatever. It just sounded all over the place. He just sounded like he was just saying nothing on each track. And Ty Dolla $ign, it sounded like a Ty Dolla $ign album. It wasn't. It was like it just feels like Kanye was nowhere to be found on the album. He was just, and when he did like say anything on any of these tracks, he just sounded like he was saying gibberish, just saying whatever. He thought it sounded hot. I guess I don't know.
To go through all of them because as I'm recording this right now, he's still putting up tweets like every 2 minutes,
Exactly.
and honestly, I just can't keep up with that, bro. Like,
Me
I got
either.
life to live, okay? All right, guys. So let's actually go through these tweets, okay? So the first tweet is Kanye says, "Free Puff,
All right.
definitely don't free that ninja," and then he says, Diego, I don't know how you say it. That's an alcoholic beverage company. They used to be in bed with Diddy, and then they ended up parting
Okay.
ways. And then after that,
They
he
own
says, "All you,
Ciroc.
please come at me." That's how we know the coons left these white people and Jewish people tell you what to do and say, "Fuck Diego" or "Viego," all you niggas in advance. And then this is when he promotes the P Diddy merch that he made, right? So as you guys can see, that's some Diddy merch right there. And then he says, "I'm selling the Sean John collaboration that me and my brother talking about Diddy spoke about before they locked him up. We split in the profits 50-50." And then he says, "Puff get one call in the morning." And then after that, he puts up these tweets right here. He says, "I got in the shower and thought of like 6 tweets. Let me see what I can remember. Please get back in the shower, Kanye." And then he says, "I'm going
He said, "Please get back in the shower, Kanye." He said, so he says right here, after I got in the shower, I thought of like 6 tweets. Like I'm gonna let him read it because like I said, I don't want my video to get like taken down. YouTube just took down my DJ Academics video for whatever reason, which I don't understand. Versus the fact that like there are 100,000 other videos that are about DJ Academics, actually playing the clip of those guys talking to the 15-year-old boy, and those videos are all still up, but my video gets taken down. I don't know. YouTube, we need to fix that.
normalized talking about Hitler. This is crazy." And then he says, "The way they talking about killing niggas has been normalized." And then he says, "Hitler was so fresh." This nigga's crazy. And then he says, "Call me gay,
He
though."
really think he edgy. That's the funniest part about it.
And then he says, "I love cutting the grass every couple of years." 3 devil emojis. And then after that, he says, "Just for clarity, they're trying to make an example out of Puff. Me and my brother had our issues, but these white people trying to use Puff to
They're
stand it."
not trying to make an example out of Puff. It's just they're finally bringing the hammer down on a person of power like him, who probably has paid people off, who has kept people in fear, and so on and so forth because of his name, his legacy, and what he is to the industry. So I don't even understand that. Like, it's crazy.
Niggas, "I'm neither scared nor brave. This is just me," he says. And after that, he says, "I just found out that Puff is not allowed to make or collect money while he's locked up, so I'm going to send his half of the money to Justin." And after that, he says, "Whoever is after Puff, we got to find out exactly who they are. Okay, cool, play off the grid. My heart has not jumped, not one moment today. I got still in my veins. God mode, Puff, we love you." Nigga, speak for yourself. Okay,
Like, for
no
real.
cancel. No nigga showed up for me other than Ty. Every single other ninja waited for it to be safe. Ninjas waited for me to be in good standings with the Jews. Then they came around. That ninja better than everybody anyway. He's talking about Ty Dolla $ign. And then after that, he says, "All rape."
Ty Dolla $ign is the only one that
every rapper.
Ty Dolla. What is it? Ty Dolla $ign, Playboy Cardi. Ty Dolla $ign, Playboy Cardi, probably the only people that'll probably work with you right now. Yeah. And I don't think Travis. I don't think Travis want to work with you. I don't think Tyler want to work with you. After all the stuff you've been saying, bro.
Didn't want to be me.
Boy,
Every rapper
tripping.
living wish they was yay. Okay, whatever you say.
All the
Fine.
engagement
And then he
farming
says,
is
"Ain't nobody
crazy."
ramped up either. I'm calm as ice. This is how I really feel, how I really felt, and how I will always feel. F all you, your F-ass, unfair business deal. Any Jewish person that does business with me need to know I don't like or trust any Jewish person." What? And then he says, "I can say Jew as much as I want. I can say Hitler as much as I want. Matter of fact, I do say it when I want." And then this is the tweet when he kind of justifies the Grammy stunt. He says, "Anyone who called my wife's Grammy look a stunt is dumb and lame. Yes, you." He sounds so sassy here. "She been dressing naked for 2 years. That's not something to brag about. Now all of a sudden it's a stunt. Every single bitch on the planet wish they had her bravery, body platforms, and access to money, and a husband that supported their personal expression. There are a lot of things that had to converge for this moment to happen." And then after that, he says, "Slavery is a choice. No, Kanye, please stop." And then he says, "They're trying to prove a point, and y'all know that. Y'all effing know that." And sitting laughing at the effing internet on Instagram. "This man gave his life to us. This is my idol. This is my hero," he said. And then after that, he says, "What y'all gonna do? Cancel my sneaker deal, cancel my record deal, freeze my accounts. F all y'all ninjas. Slavery is a choice. I'm speaking my mind. I ain't editing shit ever again." And then he says all these, by the way, I'm literally exhausted from all.
You know what's funny about this? Like I told y'all, X has like this community like fact check thing. Like if I go back real quick, so you see this right here. There's like it says it right here. It says when he says slavery is a choice, the fact checker says historically slaves were captured from overseas or illegally defined as slaves at birth. They did not have a choice. Elon might have given Kanye back his account to just say whatever he wants to say, but they have found a way to like take put community notes over most, if not all, of the things that he's saying on X. Like, for instance, anything that has to do with like saying something about a white person or white people or Jews, they'll make it less how do I put it? They'll make it less they'll make it less like um I guess you have to like less visible to everybody basically. They limit the tweet whenever he says something about like Jewish people or white people. But if it's like something about black people, they'll put like a community note under it to make sure like, you know, because they're fact checking everything he's saying or making it, you know, limited. So he's not just saying this stuff without like coming right around and being like, whoa, hold on, buddy.
Slavery is a choice. I'm speaking my mind. I ain't editing shit ever again. And then he says all these, by the way, I'm literally exhausted from all these tweets, bro. All these celebrities, ninjas, and bitches is pussy. Y'all watch our brother rot and never say shit. F all that woke shit. Ninjas addicted to complaining. Do something. And then after that, he says, we all watch them try to cancel Chris Brown and ain't nobody do nothing. I was pussy then too. Chris Brown till the wheels fall off. And then he says, Elon stole my Nazi swag at the inauguration. Yo, my guy, get your own third rail. This guy's weird, bro. And then he says, I love when Jewish people come to me and say they can't work with me anymore. It's my favorite. And then he says, one thing about being God on earth is you have to constantly forgive every human. Nigga, you ain't a God. And then he says, I will say nothing bad or against China. They always showed me love when Americans turned their backs on me because of a red hat or a t-shirt. I get money with China. I love China. God had my mom bring me there when I was 10 for a reason. And then he says, I change my mind when I feel like it. We know. And then he says, nigga, newsflash, white people and Jewish people are different. You can get money with Jewish people, but they always gonna steal and invite you over to their house on Friday. White people do not fuck with ninjas. They leave that to the Jews. If you think you're getting money with a white person, it's not true. That so-called white person is actually Jewish. Jews hate whites because of the Germans from World War II. And then let's make this the last.
Now this last one right here, they made it limited. They made this X right here limited because of like all of the things he was saying about like Jewish and white people. Like that's how much. Like look at how many views this thing has. It has 1.7 million views. I'm pretty sure it's up to 4 million views now.
A white person is actually Jewish.
He's just
Jews
saying
hate whites because
whatever,
of the
bro.
Germans from World War II.
Oh
And then
goodness.
let's make this the last week because I literally cannot do this anymore, guys.
Seriously.
Kanye says all white people are racist. Nigga, that's your fucking fan base. And then this is the last tweet.
Exactly.
Jewish people actually hate white people.
I feel like he
Black
wants to be
people. Man,
white.
enough of this fucking ranting ass,
I feel like
insane.
Kanye just
maniacal
wants to be white.
bullshit. Whew. So as you guys can
So
hear, this
much.
man is completely going insane, but that's very common for Kanye. By the way, that wasn't even like all the tweets. Like I told you, I just ain't got
There's
enough time
more.
today to let him spit out all his BS so I can cover it all in one video.
It's
Now,
disgusting.
Kanye said free Diddy, which is something I've actually heard people say before. A lot of people think that Diddy was set up because they didn't want a successful black man in power. First of all,
Yeah.
Diddy has been in power for a long time, for decades
Exactly.
actually. It wasn't until all of his wrongdoings accumulated enough to the point where he ended up seeing real world consequences for his actions. I don't
Exactly.
think there's an agenda with Diddy being behind bars. I mean, that was the same man who on that footage that got leaked was
Like,
beating the hell out of Cassie as she
exactly.
was trying to escape. So that's P. Diddy for you. Ain't no agenda there. Kanye's obviously an opportunist, so whatever benefits him, he's going to be for that, which is why he's selling this merchandise so he can cash in on all the Diddy supporters' gullibleness, okay? And then as for the anti-Semitic comments he's been making, this is something Kanye has been on for a long time. I'm sure some of y'all actually, or all of y'all actually should know this and remember this, but he put up this very strange tweet back in 2022, just out of nowhere, and I'm not going to read this out loud or show it actually. Let's just say that he had death and Jewish people in the tweet. Now, if you guys did not know, the majority of Kanye's business partners, they used to be of Jewish descent. Kanye has been making a whole lot of money with Jewish people for the entirety of his career. And then in 2022, that's when he really started going off the deep end. A lot of things were shifting behind the scenes for him. His ex-wife, Kim Kardashian, she started running for the hills, and their divorce, that was a roller coaster, okay? At first, things seemed intense. Then suddenly, it seemed fine. Then Kim started dating Pete Davidson, who for some reason got her name branded on his skin. Meanwhile, Kanye was out here buying a house across the street from her, making public statements about wanting to, be back together and just spiraling publicly. Okay?
Obsessive.
Kim was quite literally dying to get out of that relationship. But while everyone was watching the Kim K and Pete Davidson drama play out, something much bigger was happening to Kanye. His business empire crumbling, his partnerships getting pulled one by one, his billionaire status slipping away. And honestly, that was all Kanye is doing. Because being in business with Kanye is like playing Russian roulette. One day you guys are signing contracts, making millions of dollars together. The next day he's on Twitter blowing up your whole operation. And that's exactly what happened. In the span of just a few months, Kanye went from being a billion-dollar mogul to losing everything. Adidas dropped him, Balenciaga, Gap, and every major fashion company also cut ties. His longtime talent agency, CAA, dropped him. A finished documentary about Kanye, shelved forever. And after losing all those partnerships, Kanye hopped on Instagram to say, all right, Emmanuel, I lost $2 billion in one day and I'm still alive. This is love speech. I still love you. God still loves you. The money is not who I am. The people is who I am. But let's be real. This wasn't some spiritual awakening by Kanye. A lot of the wild stuff he's doing now is because his pockets ain't as big as they used to be, okay?
Yeah.
Kanye is never truly going to be broke, okay? He's built such a massive brand to the point where he could walk into any room, breathe for like 5 seconds, and someone would hand him $100,000 just for existing. But when you reach this level of success, the money ain't just about what you have, it's about what you owe. You got business expenses, you got personal expenses, you got taxes, you got employees to pay, you got investors expecting their money back, because a lot of these ultra rich dudes don't gamble with their own money, they borrow other people's money. And then when things go south, that's when the real problem starts. Now Kanye, a lot of his downfall started because he went on that anti-Semitic tirade. All the Jewish business partners Kanye was working with, they all came together and said, you know what, we're not going to rock with this guy anymore. And honestly, can you blame them? Like, here's a guy who's made hundreds of millions of dollars doing business with them, and then suddenly he flips the script and starts going on these insane rants about them. At that point, it's not even about the money anymore. It's about the respect. They weren't about to just keep cutting him checks while he was out here disrespecting their people on a global stage. So one by one, they dropped his ass. No more Adidas deal, no more Balenciaga collabs, no more corporate backing. And that's how Kanye went from being one of the biggest names in fashion to watching his entire collapse overnight. But instead of taking
I almost kind of wish that he never. I literally almost wish like he was never in the fashion world. They made him. They made a monster out of Kanye. They made him think he could do whatever he wanted and he wouldn't get served any type of consequence. I truly wish he never like made it into fashion, because there was a point in time where he was just like adamant about getting into fashion. I remember he would be like begging, like, "Oh, I'm trying to get into the fashion world. And they finally let him in, and he's successful and everything like that. And now after a while, he just started going crazy. They should have never let him in the fashion world, bro. They should have just said, Negro, no. Stay a rapper. We don't need you over here.
Accountability. Instead of realizing that he fumbled the bag himself, Kanye did what Kanye always does. He doubled down. And now we're seeing the effects of that downfall playing out in real time. The sad part about Kanye is he's such an attention seeker to the point where he doesn't, really care if it's positive or negative. As long as his name is trending, as long as people are talking about him, that's all that matters to him. And that's exactly why he keeps on pushing the envelope. This guy obviously thrives on chaos. Every time he does something controversial, he gets the reaction he wants. And that just fuels his ego to keep going further. At this point, it's not really about the money anymore. It's about the ego. Because think about it. This is a guy who had it all. $1 billion empire, which I'm sure he probably has that empire to some extent, right? The biggest brands in fashion backing him. A wife who, love her or hate her, is one of the most famous women in the world. And also, to Kim's defense, I mean, this woman, she genuinely loved Kanye. When the entire industry was telling her, why did you get with this guy? She was defending Kanye West.
That's
because
true.
she loved him. And then now look at Kanye. Like, he had all that, and look at him now. He's out here selling bootleg Diddy merch, ranting about Hitler.
Right.
What? That's not just a fall from grace. That's self-destruction on
If
a
you
whole
would've
different level.
told me-
And the crazy part is Kanye probably thinks he's winning, because in his mind,
If you would have told me 10 years ago that Kanye West would be where he's at today, I wouldn't have believed you, because he was so successful in doing the right things 10 years ago. But now, who would have thought? Who would have thought? Who would have put it together that he was going to be acting out and being an attention-seeking media clown and thinking that it would work in his favor, and thinking people are going to still like buy his clothing, which I'm sure there are people who are going to buy his stuff and listen to his music, but it ain't going to be the demographic that he thinks that's going to support him, especially in this month of February, if you get what I mean.
if people are talking about him, he still has power. But the reality is he's burning every last bridge he has left. At the end of the day, this conversation shouldn't be, oh, but he's rich, or oh, he's famous, or oh, he got money, because we've seen what happens when all that disappears. Look at P. Diddy. At one point, he was a billionaire, untouchable, moving like a king in the industry, and now he's locked up in a prison cell, a place where nobody cares about how much money you got, how many celebrities you knew, or how many hits you made, or how much power you had on the outside. Right now, there are other men in that prison looking him dead in the eye, telling him when to eat, when to sleep, and when to wake up. If you're listening to this right now, you're in a better position than a guy who was once a billionaire, because at least you got control of your day-to-day routine. And that's the thing Kanye doesn't seem to understand. All this clout chase and all these shock value stunts, none of that lasts forever. We already know that. You can be a billionaire today, but you keep playing stupid games, eventually you're gonna win a stupid prize, okay? And at the rate Kanye is going, who knows what's next? I'm not saying he's about to get caught up in some Diddy stuff, but at this point, who even knows who this guy really is anymore? Because let's be real, the Kanye that we see today is not the same Kanye we knew 10 years ago. Back then, he was the genius. He was the visionary, the guy pushing the culture forward. Now, he's unpredictable. One day, he's talking about building a utopia. The next day, he's selling bootleg Diddy merch. And the day after that, he's out here praising Hitler. What kind of arc is this? Because I ain't never heard about this one. And the crazy part is nobody around him is stopping him. That's the problem when you reach his level of fame. There's no one left to check you. No one has the balls to check your ass. Everyone in your circle is either a yes man or they're scared to call you out because they ain't trying to lose that check. So Kanye just keeps on spiraling and spiraling deeper and deeper. And if history has taught us anything, this kind of downward spiral never ends well. I mean, it's crazy when you think about it. This is the same guy who gave us the greatest music of our generation. The same guy who made Through the Wire, Jesus Walks, Flashing Lights, Runaway, songs that defined entire eras of hip hop. A lot of us grew up on his music. A lot of us used to love this dude, man. But now it's hard to even recognize Kanye because this ain't about controversy anymore. This is not just about him being a free thinker. This is a full-blown identity crisis playing out in real time. And the saddest part, the flesh of Kanye might still be here, but the soul, the mind, the Kanye we all knew, that nigga's gone. It's like we're watching a shell of the man he used to be. I mean, the genius, the innovator, the artist who changed hip-hop forever, that Kanye is long gone. What we now have is someone who's spiraling, reaching, trying to stay relevant by any means necessary. And the worst part is he's too deep in it to even see what's happening to him. When you burn so many bridges, you lose so many friends and push away everyone who cared about you, what's left? At this point, is even his own family going to be able to stand behind him? Because let's be real, he's already pushed away everyone who once truly cared about him. Kim, she's gone. His kids growing up watching all this unfold, the people who once stood by him, either silent or gone. And the way he's moving, he's making it real hard for anyone to defend him, honestly. Because being considered a genius at one point doesn't justify self-destruction. At some point, you got to ask yourself, when everyone around you walks away, maybe the problem ain't them. Maybe it's you. And for Kanye, that realization might come when there's nobody left to clap for him. Everyone around him is literally afraid to call him out, afraid to tell him the truth, afraid to get cut off just for speaking up. Because at this point, being in Kanye's circle is like walking on eggshells. I'm sure it is. Have y'all seen some of those clips of him like being at a party or something, like backstage somewhere, like just like screaming among people?
Don't take me. I'm by myself in this motherfucking room. Everybody shut the fuck up. Hey, shut the fuck up. Let me tell you something right now. Just the fact that you ain't listening to me. It's it. Ain't none of y'all niggas with me. I'm by myself. Then ain't none of y'all niggas stand up for me. Ain't nobody stop. Hey, shut up. Be quiet before you get X'd out.
One wrong word, one disagreement, and you're out. That's why he's surrounded by yes men. People who won't challenge him. People who won't hold him accountable.
Like
and
Justin
that's why
LeBoy.
he keeps on spiraling. Because when nobody checks you, nobody tells you, nah, bro, this ain't it. You start thinking every thought in your head is genius, right? And Kanye is living
How does
in a world where
anybody want to be
nobody can tell him he's
represented?
wrong. But reality don't work
Standing
like
next
that.
to him.
At some point, you either wake up or you crash out. And the way he's moving, that crash out might be coming sooner than he thinks.
He
I
been
know it's
crashing
coming.
out.
You know it's coming. And you know I did the best job I could possibly do with this video. So now I want to hear what you have to say about this topic. Kanye is having his worst meltdown yet. If you made it this far, drop a like on this video, subscribe if you want to keep up with all this.
Hey man, it's true what's going on, bro. He is internally crashing out right now at this very, very moment. Very, very sad to say the least, but you know, he brought it on himself. He brought it on himself. It's hard to make yourself care about what he even has going on for real, for real. I don't even know how it took a lot for me to like come on stream and talk about this dude for real, for real. I was really about to just sideswipe it and like do something else because I mean Kanye ranting is not anything new. It's just adding more to the story of why he's not as prominent as he once was some years ago. Many, many years ago, actually, excuse me. But hey, what can you do? You know? There's nothing left to do, obviously. Let me see here. What was I supposed to be? Let me see what we got. Okay, so we'll be moving on to what else is there? Oh yeah, we gotta talk about 50 and Big Meech. It's gonna be the next thing I get into. 50 and Big Meech. Let's get into that. 50 and Big Meech.
All right, so it looks like the 50 Cent, Rick Ross, Big Meech beef saga is continuing. And since the last time we talked about this, there have been several updates. Now, I would take the time re-explaining it to y'all if y'all didn't catch the last couple videos I made, but I really don't have to because 50 Cent took to his Instagram. He made this post with this video right here in the caption that promotes a comedy show that he is throwing. And this video does a pretty good job of summing it up.
So apparently 50 Cent and Big Meech done had a falling out. While Big Meech was locked up, 50 produced the show, BMF, made Meech's son the lead actor with no acting experience. Now, if you know 50 Cent at all, you know you don't link up with his enemy. But here go Meech with one of 50's long time.
Here's my question though. When 50 first decided he wanted to do the BMF show or whatever, did he seek out Big Meech's blessing to do the show or reach out? Like, because I mean, I know his family was involved, you know, as far as like producing the show and stuff like that. Like, what, like, initially, did like he talk to him, or maybe I don't know. Maybe Big Meech felt the way at first when he was producing the show. I don't know, but
On ops, Rick Ross, they cheesing, showing all their new teeth, having a good old time. You do not link with Rick Ross publicly if you down with 50 Cent. Just to be safe, don't shop at Ross. Don't listen to Diana Ross. Don't
Just
watch
don't
Friends.
shop at
They got a character named Ross. So 50 ain't like that. Start saying Big Meech is a rat and he can prove it and all of that. So then Lil Meech text 50 and 50 posted the text. He like, yo, man, 50, I thought we was good. I thought we was real friends in real life. We don't even fuck with Rick Ross. He just gave my pops a little bread until we shoot the next season of BNet. And 50 said, what next season, little nigga? This is who 50 Cent has been throughout his career. Irv Gotti just passed away, and that's what 50
yeah, that
posted.
was crazy.
I was proud of him because he said, God bless him. I said, oh, 50's becoming a better person.
Yeah,
I
ain't
thought he was
gonna
going to
lie,
buy
that was
tickets to
crazy.
the funeral so his family couldn't come. I'm being careful what I say in this video before 50 say, what comedy show, little nigga?
Yeah, so that pretty much sums up everything that we have heard about this story so far, aside from the Tammy Cowens situation. But I'm sure y'all caught my other video, so y'all probably know about that already. Well, it looks like we have some updates in this. For one, Rick Ross has went ahead and responded to everything that 50 Cent was posting, pretty much saying that if 50 Cent is done with filming the BMF TV show, that he wants to go ahead and make a blockbuster project around it instead of to quote pretty much what he says, a low budget TV show, right? So Rick Ross responded to this saying that that's what he wants to do, but it may not go his way. Y'all check out what he said.
So talking to a major player such as myself, the moves I make, I most definitely have an agenda. I don't do anything to off a little peon. You know what I mean? It's bigger. It's bigger. The world is much bigger. You understand? So look, one time for the real hustlers. February 13th, that Big Meech concert going down in a major way, and all the hustlers will be in the building. You heard me? I'm gonna do that BMF. I might do that 15 times for no reason. You heard me? Holding up that official Bel Air bottle. You heard me? One time for my nigga Booby still locked up. One time for all the real niggas. Rick Brown Lee just came home. One time.
See, the problem with Rick Ross versus 50 Cent is that Rick Ross is really just an advertiser. He just advertises. He talks a good game. He's a talking advertiser. That's what he is. 50 Cent is somebody who actually put himself into television. Like, he literally wanted to learn how to get into television. Jimmy Iovine told him, I'd rather see you do television than do rap music. So that's what he did. He went and did rap. He went and stopped rapping and started doing television. Well, he still raps, but he does like the theme song for all of his television shows. And he's doing more television. He's doing more biopic type stuff. That's the thing about 50 Cent. 50 Cent is really locked in to this television executive thing. Rick Ross is just an advertiser. Rick Ross is just talking a good game. If he produced any movie, anything, I ain't never seen it. So it's like, it's one thing to like get with somebody who is supposed to be a mutual with 50 Cent, like Big Meech, but it's another thing to try to hone in and try to do what 50 Cent is doing with television in general, with film in general. 50 Cent has acted in movies. Like, he literally is like locked into doing this for real. Versus Rick Ross, who still makes music and still makes a one-sided type of music versus like branching out and expanding his music and talking about other things outside of what he always talks about. So it's like, I don't know, Rick Ross, how you gonna do that? How you gonna pull off a BM anything BMF?
Time for all the real niggas who come every day. Listen, trust me when I tell you that heavyweight, big boys, the biggies, the bezel, Ricky Ravioli.
Ricky Ravioli.
Money ain't never personal. You only remember this shit. 3 years from now, when your kids and grandkids running around playing with the koi fish that's swimming through your living room, that's the only thing
That's swimming through your living room. He's unintentionally.
Everything the boss do is really a movie. I can create a show right now on the yacht. Call it the startup. Yeah, so look, I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film. Which director? Shout out to my homie F. Gary Gray, Antoine Foucault, what's up? Tarantino.
Not Tarantino.
It's a lot of legends. This is gonna be big. I can feel it. I'm just talking.
You really are.
Now, it's clear in that video that Rick Ross thinks he's on to something, like he's had some groundbreaking idea, but 50 Cent was pretty quick to shoot this idea down by posting this right here over on Instagram.
It says Rick Ross BMF film impossible because 50 Cent owns TV and film rights.
And it's an article from
How about
TMZ that says Rick Ross BMF film is impossible because 50 Cent owns the TV and film rights to it. And he wrote in the caption, "It's cool though, just say whatever you want." Despite that, we still seen Rick Ross posting on his Instagram this right here. It said, "I want to do a real BMF movie, theaters only. Which director? Antoine Fuqua or Quentin Tarantino? Both legendary directors in their own right." Now, in that TMZ article, the headline reads, "Rick Ross promises real BMF films. Problem is, 50 Cent owns all the rights." And it says, "Rick Ross may want to reroute his plans to bring the BMF film to movie theaters. Getting the green light may be tricky considering he'd have to ask his #1 competition, 50 Cent, for permission." Sources with direct knowledge of the existing contracts tell TMZ Hip Hop that 50 is the sole owner of both the BMF stories, TV, and film rights, and that nothing is changing. 50 coming through with what looks like a checkmate on that situation. Right. I don't see how Rick Ross would be able to even produce anything about BMF if it's true that 50 Cent owns all the rights. So all of that went down, but there was a little bit more over the last couple of days. We have seen 50 Cent taking aim at Lil Meech, which is Big Meech's son, right? We seen him post a message up that Lil Meech sent him. He was basically, begging for 50 Cent to not be mad at him or his dad for the link up with Rick Ross. We seen Lil Meech pretty much say that the link up only happened because Rick Ross gave Big Meech enough money to pay his bills until the next season of BMF started. 50 Cent responded with, "What next season, little dude?" Right? And so we seen some reactions to that. One of the people that reacted to it was The Game, who also has had problems with 50 Cent in the past. But The Game posted, he said, "I just seen a text message from Lil Meech to 50 Cent that's got me dying. Hey, Lil Meech, you supposed to
even one of your former G Unit members and person you've been beefing with forever. Hilarious. That is just the 360 serendipitous thing that's going on with this is hilarious. That's funny.
be like, fuck you, this BMF and I'm standing with my pops. Now, me and 50 have our own issues, but that shit's on pause while I post this." 50 said, "What show, little dude?" And I damn near spit my water out. What happened to people, man? Hey, Big Meech, you can't let 50 get to you like that.
That's what I'm
right?
saying.
So he's pretty much laughing at the situation. And 50 Cent continued to troll. He posted this up on Instagram and then deleted it, but it says Lil Meech is going to be on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta soon, again hinting at the fact that he might end the BMF show. And so a lot of people were wondering, you know, why 50 Cent was going so hard on Lil
That's what I'm saying. Lil Meech didn't even do anything wrong. What did Lil Meech even do? He didn't even do anything wrong. He just happens to be somebody. He just happens to be the son of the person that you're mad at. So you decide, like, forget about it. I don't care if he is. I don't care if I do like Lil Meech. He Big Meech's son, and I do not like Big Meech right now. Crazy.
Meech in particular.
What did
And
he even
honestly,
do?
if I had to pinpoint it, I think it would date back to like this article right here that says Lil Meech gets involved in 50 Cent and his son Marquise Jackson's drama. This was back in 2022 when there was news articles coming out about how much money 50 Cent was paying in child support to his son Marquise Jackson. And Marquise was like coming off as ungrateful for the amount of money he was getting. Their relationship has not been the greatest throughout the
didn't even
years,
know
50
that.
Cent and his sons. And anyways, Lil Meech threw his opinion into this whole situation one day when Marquise posted an Instagram post where he was talking about how $6,700 a month really wasn't that much money in child support, and Lil Meech responded to that making jokes and things like that. And from everything I can tell, that's really probably when 50 Cent started to feel some type of way about Lil Meech.
see
He was
now.
using this as an opportunity to take aim and, you know, to go that much harder. So of course, another reaction that we seen to this whole thing was actually 50 Cent's son.
So basically, he's saying, I can beef with my son. You can't beef with my son. You don't have no right to beef with my son. I can beef with my son, is what 50 Cent is saying. I think I get it now.
Marquise responding to Lil Meech and pretty much laughing at him, saying, you know,
look at you.
different because 50 is kind of treating Lil Meech like shit right now, and he's kind of treated his son like shit throughout the years. So he posted this video right here.
What's up, y'all? I woke up today and I had this overwhelming thought in my head, and I think like something is telling me to tell y'all or message with y'all. So I feel like it's somebody out here, or maybe it's a bunch of people out here that need to hear this. And it was like, you thought you were special. You really thought you were special.
He thought, huh?
Who told you you were special?
Man,
You thought you were special.
crazy world out here, man.
Man, 50 Cent's son acts and looks just like him, bro. Cannot deny that kid right there. He's a grown man now, but y'all know what I'm saying. His kid, he can't deny his kid. Anyways, yeah, so that's what we got on this side of it. There's some more things going on with Supreme son, Irv Gotti, and all that. I haven't talked about it on my channel yet because I just haven't gotten the opportunity to yet. But yeah, that's what we got. If you ask me, man, it seems like maybe something else is
50
going
Cent
on
being
behind
with
the
everybody
scenes,
right now,
you know,
bro.
behind the scenes. That is more than just Big Meech linking up with Rick Ross that kind of set 50 Cent off. He's going real hard on everybody. He's really acting like he's ready to blow everything up to prove his point. Kind of leads me to believe maybe something happened behind the scenes that was bigger than just Rick Ross and Big Meech linking up. I don't got no proof of that. That's just my thoughts. But yeah, that's where we're at. That's
I mean, hey, if you ever cross 50 Cent, just know what you're getting yourself into. If you ever link with that man, you just gotta know what you're getting yourself into, because it's like 1 minute everything could be good, next minute he figures out that you're doing something that he don't like, and it's a complete 180 on you. It's crazy. And then this one, there's another video. Also, this is from Chigs, basically detailing why Rick Ross won't end the beef with 50 Cent, which I'm kind of tired of it myself, honestly. What do they even? What do they even have left to beef about? It's like, y'all both successful, you know. 50 Cent don't even really rap no more, so it's like, what do y'all even have? What do y'all have left to beef? You know, it's just like how he's still beefing with Murder Inc. after all these years and decades have gone by. The whole thing with him. What did he say? He said, "I'm smoking on that Irv pack." Not
Chigs is in here
what
recording.
he said, LOL, but God bless him.
So whatever you say,
It's a crazy thing to say. It's like,
whatever you say.
if you don't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all.
There hasn't been any artist in the history of the
You know?
world that draws lines as clear as 50 Cent. If he deems you a friend, then the loyalty is never ending. But if he's not really sure if you're a friend, then you're clearly an enemy. There's no middle ground. And the most recent example is him making a whole show based off the life and crew of Big Meech and BMF. And when Big Meech was released from prison, 50 Cent thought he would have that same loyalty. But it seems like Big Meech is just trying to enjoy his second chance of freedom. If you want the full breakdown on how 50 Cent felt betrayed and now is turning on Big Meech, calling him a rat, it's all in this video that we made previously. But now Rick Ross responds to 50 Cent's tantrum. What's up, y'all? It's your man Talkless World Report for the Chick Smooth channel. We gotta talk about this. For as big of a troll 50 Cent has been his entire career, Rick Ross has matched him. And there seems to be no ending to their feud, As Rick Ross
At
will get on
all.
Instagram and tell us how people have tried to mend things between him and 50 Cent, but Rick Ross was the one to say no. Here's what he has to say.
Listen, you wouldn't be able to imagine how many different times motherfuckers tried to fix the issues with
Is
me
that right?
and Curly Jackson. No. I always said no. Why? It's a free TV show for me. I could wake up in the morning and say, that nigga can't dress. Nigga's a peon and he ain't got no paper. None. All that aqua vitamin water shit was foo-foo. Stop.
It may seem like 50 Cent is overreacting, but he was also shot 9 times. And I'm sure the main lesson he learned from that was make a clear line between friend and enemy. Either we're friends and it's all love, or we're not. There's no middle ground. There's no gray area. That gray area is where most of the violence takes place. And Rick Ross...
I mean, I think there's one pivotal thing Rick Ross is forgetting. I mean, it works both ways. In order for a beef to stop, the other person has to be willing to end whatever friction is going on. And 50 Cent is not a person that I've been following since I was a child that likes to end beefs. So whatever he's saying about people wanting him and 50 Cent to end beef, he making it seem like 50 Cent is the one who want to end the beef. No, it works both ways. The other person has to want to end the beef as much as you want to end the beef. You know, it's not a one-sided thing. So
calling 50 Cent broke is relative. 2 rich people calling each other broke still means hundreds of thousands of dollars. They just have high expenses, so it doesn't last as long. But if I were to say, oh man, I don't got it right now, I mean, I'm looking at more negative than a photographer. So we're not living in the same world. They're broke and our broke is not the same thing.
And then I could just run an ad. It's like having a TV show. This a nigga, turn it, ratings up, boom. Then you give him a commercial, boom. And say Rick Ross Car Show June 7th. You feel me? That's what I got. I could wake up and who else could do that? I could wake up 50. That nigga ain't got no paper. Tight clothes nigga be wearing a Yankee hat with a Casablanca button up with the collar halfway turned up. Stop.
But Rick Ross is intent on using his platform the same way 50 Cent uses his platform. Anytime they have problems with somebody, they'll post about it and then make sure to promote their own product. It seems like these 2 superstar, multimillionaire artists and businessmen are arguing over who gets to be Big Meech's friend. No, he's my best friend. No, he's my best friend. Do you think 50 Cent is overreacting, or is he justified to feel some type of way? Whose side are you on? Let me know in the comment section.
Ain't on nobody's side, man. Ain't on nobody's side in this thing. I do feel as though it's stupid to be fighting over somebody who has their own legacy and everything like that. I don't know. I just feel like there's a bottom line, man. The bottom line is to just keep focusing on you. I mean, you ain't gonna. One thing about it, you'll never win against 50 Cent. You'll never. Nobody will ever continue to win against 50 Cent. I mean, so trust me, there are people who have beat 50 Cent. You know, as far as a sparring match, I think Jadakiss has won the war because he's a rapper's rapper. He's not down to like talk. He's not a talker. He's not a ish talker. What's his name? Another person who has won the war against 50. I think what is it? Ghostface? Not Ghostface. Raekwon, I think, was beefing with 50 Cent at one time. And what did he do? What did they both have in common? What do Raekwon and Jadakiss have in common? They're both rappers. They don't talk, they rap. So it's like, I don't have time for that. Chamillionaire is another one. Chamillionaire didn't fall for the antics. He seen 50 Cent, and 50 Cent pulled him into a room and said, like, you could have had the ball in your hand, bro. You could have been talked about by so many publications, but you didn't want to beef with me. You didn't entertain it. So it's like, sometimes it's real sufficient beef with some of these people. 50 Cent just tends to like antagonize and try to intimidate. On the other hand, like people like Irv Gotti, Ja Rule, The Game, those are personal beefs that happened out of like whatever, you know, things that are those are personal beefs that are internal. Like 50 Cent will forever hate Irv Gotti, even though he's passed away now. R.I.P. to him. 50 Cent will always hate Ja Rule because because Irv Gotti and Ja Rule are both connected to McGriff, and that's a whole different scenario that I won't explain here. You can go do your own research about why 50 Cent doesn't like Ja Rule, why 50 Cent didn't like Irv Gotti yourself, because it's an internal beef. Game, it's an internal beef. Like it's a personal beef. It's a personal vendetta that is embedded in 50 Cent and his personality to just go after these people who have either affected his life or made it possible for him to lose money, or just infiltrate them because they were in his life and affected his life in some form or some way. Those are those beefs. Then you got the Rick Ross beef. Then you got the Big Meech beef. Those are different. Those are different from these over here, So that's how I feel about it, Let's keep on going. Let me see what else I got here. What else I got to react to? Wanted to react to some music. I think I was gonna react to some music. I don't know. Gotta see. Let me come down here. See what else I got. See what else we got. Chopper from the band has been making a lot of waves too himself. I'm gonna be honest with you. He been cracking the internet too. Let me see what they got going on up here. Let me see, because I used to watch the band. I used to actually be invested in that television show. What is it? They used to call it Making the Band. They were like the first people or whatever. See what else they got. Shout out to anybody who's watching my stuff, man. See what's going on here.
And I don't know if this is true. This is something I heard behind the scenes. But I heard Sarah, she was messing around with Freddie P.
Yeah, she did.
Get out of town.
Fred definitely knocked it down.
Really?
Sure. But that's how it all started, though. You heard me? That's how it all started, bro. It started with Fred knocking it down. That's when I looked at Sarah like a totally different
Sarah
type of woman.
married?
Because in my mind, growing up, you heard me? I thought like the married people
That's crazy.
were like 100 forever together.
I thought she was married.
And Sarah low key, high key, triple key changed my perception of how I see women.
That's crazy.
And I hate to say that, yeah, but changed my whole perception, because I remember Fred, and Fred, don't judge me, baby. You're not laying, but Chop gonna keep it real. And that was a wild life we had at that moment. So keeping it real and, telling the history of our life, our journey is dope to me. So I'm going to say it. Fred was like, Chop. He's like, sit it. Sarah. I said, no, you didn't. He said, yes, I did. I said, no, you didn't. He was like, I did. I said, how much you want to bet? You ain't Sarah. He said, I'll bet my show money. And that's how me and Fred used to get down.
Wow.
Our bets used to be the show money with each other.
Show money.
So he was like, let's bet the show money. So I was like, all right, cool. So the next city we went to, you heard me, the deal was this here. Fred was going to leave a latch, so it can be compatible with the door so I can be able to walk in, And if I walk in and see it, I lost the bet. And basically, that's exactly what happened. We went to another city. We was actually in New York City. We was staying in a hotel. And Fred texted me, and back in the G, it used to be Sidekicks. Remember Sidekick?
Yeah, I remember them.
Yeah. Fred hit me on my, that was the shit.
He said, yeah.
Fred hit me on the Sidekick and was like, Nick, I'm in the room.
Louisiana.
Come on, I left the latch
Louisiana,
open for you. So
Louisiana niggas just have something like the way they say stuff is so cool. Yeah, baby. Oh, that's a terrible Louisiana accent I just tried to do. Pardon me. Pardon me. Sorry to anybody who was from Louisiana or New Orleans. I am so sorry.
Excited. I ain't gonna count with you, brother. I'm excited. You did, because I always wanted to see Sarah naked. I'm sorry, I did.
So you excited to see another man?
I'm creeping, you did. I'm creeping, excited.
Smashing?
I can't wait. I open the door. I come creeping through the door. I turn right. You did. I pass the bathroom. You heard me. I go right. Sarah tearing this nigga up, son. I'm talking about in the shot of Fred. Fred, she riding Fred, and Fred looking at me, and he's sucking his dumb shit. I was joked out, son.
That's
You heard me?
crazy.
And then Sarah, I made a mistake and walked backwards, you dig? And when I walked backwards, it was probably some M&Ms, you heard me, or some Skittles, you dig? And I made a mistake and stepped on it, and Sarah looked back and jumped off Fred. Was like, oh my God, you know, and crying by the wall. And I'm like, Sarah, say, bro, it's all gravy. I don't care. I was like, I already know. She said, you already knew? I said, yes. Fred said he already done it before. Fred, you running your mouth? Blah, 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 blah. But yeah, Fred used to knock Sarah down for sure. Yeah, Fred used to shot at Sarah. No doubt about it. Tell her up. Fred loves Sarah, dog. He used to love Sarah. Facts.
Why they didn't make it official?
Because Sarah was married.
Exactly.
How you gonna make something official when you got a family to go home to?
She
and her husband would have.
He was just
kill
the
her.
side.
Found that out. But we kept that a secret a long time around there. We did as long as we could. You heard me? But everybody know Fred was knocking it down. Believe that. Facts. But Fred, what really happened though? Fred started feeling the way. You know, when Diddy started knocking it down, Fred was just. Fred
Wait,
was
what?
He gonna say he don't remember when Diddy
Hold
knocking
up.
it down.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Whoa. So she went from Fred to Diddy? Oh, that's crazy. Hold on. Say that again.
Started feeling the way. You know, when Diddy started knocking it down, Fred was.
Wow.
Fred wasn't feeling that shit.
Diddy
gonna
was
say he don't
knocking
remember
down Sarah?
Diddy knocking it down and started feeling the way, but he was knocking it down and Fred started feeling the way.
Goodness.
So that was enough. That was the end of the Fred and Sarah era, you know.
Wow.
When Diddy started just.
So when Sarah and Freddie P was messing around, I remember on Making the Band, her husband, he used to come on the show. Was they messing around at that time too?
No, absolutely not. I think, in my opinion, I think her husband knew what was down with Sarah as a person. So I think that he was trying to protect her. He did protect her from embarrassing herself.
I mean,
and that's just my opinion.
If I remember that show correctly, Sarah's husband was very verbally abusive. He was very toxic. So whatever Chopper is saying right now is cool, but what I remember on that show, he was very toxic to her. So I mean, I could see why she would I could see how she would flock to somebody in the group, you know, especially since there's more males than women. I can kind of see that.
He was trying to protect her from embarrassing herself, which eventually ended up happening anyway, because the more that he wasn't around is the more she started doing her. Because I'm starting to feel like, she was probably trying to run from him, you dig? So when he wasn't able to be in control on Making the Band, like how he's normally in control, obviously in her life, you know, she was running like a free slave.
Yeah.
And she was cutting the fuck up because obviously she must hated her life back then. But in my opinion, I think, just my opinion, and I don't do no capping, you dig? I think that her husband at that time, he done everything right for her, you know, laced her up. He took care of her. You know, Sarah didn't come into the band struggling, you know. She came into the band with money. Sarah already had buku money. And, you know, they hold a wiggle, they had money. So Sarah ain't have a worry in the world. And I think that he was just trying to protect her from embarrassing herself, which she ended up doing anyway. So yeah, that's what happened. The more they got Sarah's husband away from him, was the most Sarah was able to kind of got out a little bit.
That's wild, bro.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, that's wild.
Fact, though. That's just my opinion. Say, bro, after I seen Sarah do all that there, I couldn't look at women the same way, and that sucks. But it just made me look like, damn, even the married women be out here cutting up, and maybe it did traumatize me. Mind you, I was a young dude. I wasn't over 21. I wasn't none of that. I was young, so it did. I seen a lot of shit there growing up, but I never seen a married woman cut up like that. I never seen it. You dig? And that made me say, damn, even the married woman. I think married women sometimes be the worst ones. Yikes. Yikes.
I actually think he would be wrong. I think that the worst or any person, any man or woman who grew up in church who didn't get to experience a regular life, I think those are the ones who are doing the most for real. That's just how I feel about it. A lot of the ones who have been who are raised with strict parents come from homes where they don't get to do nothing all up until they're adults in their adult years. They didn't experience nothing. And then it's once they get off that porch, once they get up out that house, it's another story. So I really disagree with what he's saying as far as um it being married women. I think it's like strict parent households where like I feel like those are the ones who end up like crashing out and doing something, you know, more crazy in my own opinion. Um, but yeah, let me see. I want to check out this Kendrick Lamar interview from let me see if I can bring it over here. See if I can watch it from right here. This Kendrick Lamar interview. It seemed real. It seemed like hella long. I mean, pause. I don't know. Let me see. It seemed like a long interview. It's literally an hour long. Is it only? I want to see. Is it only? Is it only Kendrick Lamar, or is it more than that? Let me see. Hold up. Hold up. This is pretty long. Let me go to another one. Hold up. Hold up. This is right here. Let me see if I could. Okay. Let me see here. This might be it right here. I don't even know. Why is there no sound? Ain't got no sound to it. No sound?
Drake, it's a little bit surreal to actually see you in the flesh because you've always made it a point of just letting the music speak for yourself, which is something I really respect. But the spotlight has been shining so bright for the past few months. I've just been wondering how you've been processing behind the scenes, how you've been feeling about everything happening, all the success.
It's just really just
Okay. There we go.
I want to look at it like it's just a continuum of who I am. Really, I've always stayed to myself. I've always been in my own bubble, whether it's with the fam or whether it's training. How I process it all is just I continue to do what I was doing 10 years ago, and that's like be better in myself, better in the craft, and not look at it as bright lights, you know. And it may sound cliche, but it always worked for me, even when I was young, you know, playing sports or being in the forefront of presentations and stuff like that. It was like I gotta look at myself in the mirror rather than looking at it as a crowd or, you know, fame and attention.
So now, early days of your career, you know, Section 80 days, even early mixtapes, and you perfecting your craft as an MC. Did you ever think we'd be at the Super Bowl with this?
Thinking about no Super Bowl.
You never thought about the Super
I
Bowl
wasn't
with
thinking
this?
about no Super Bowl for sure. We was thinking about the best verse and
You know, I have to agree with a person who's always on my podcast. My homie, Bo. He said that if it wasn't for Drake, like getting Kendrick to come out, getting Kendrick to come out of whatever hiatus he had put himself in, and doing all this back and forth diss and stuff, Kendrick Lamar would have like literally retired and never done anything else. We wouldn't even be sitting here talking about Grammys or the Super Bowl or anything like that. And I have to honestly, I have to agree. You know, no matter how you feel, whether you're a Kendrick fan, whether you're a Drake fan, I do feel as though after Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, being that that was his like that was allegedly supposed to be his very last album that he had ever did. Um, under the TDE banner and just I guess in general, he probably was never gonna do anything else. He was probably gonna just retire, be an A&R, and just take care of his kids. That was probably what he was gonna do. But Drake brought that energy to him. Drake awoke a person who wasn't even gonna continue doing music. He was probably just gonna go live his best life outside of music and just raise his children and be thankful that he left the industry, he left the game without having to worry about oh, you know, who do I have to be better than, or who's on top. I'm targeting that person. That was what the plan was, I guess. I don't know, but hey, we're here now, right?
How we gonna split this $5 at Church Chicken or something like that? It wasn't no Super Bowl. Going to the studio and getting a meal.
Thanks.
But I think, well, what I know is the passion I have now is still the passion I had then. And I think that carried on to the Super Bowl. So it was all about being present. As long as I was present in the studio and present in whatever that line was or whatever that mistake was, uh, rapping or doing the hooks or choruses or whatnot, I was present in that moment. I felt that passion. I think being present and not actually foreseeing everything kept me in a grounded state of mind in order to be at, big stages like this.
I think we felt that presence and that focus in your work for the past 15 years. Like Ebro said, going all the way back to projects like Overly Dedicated. And so seeing you perform with Dr. Dre at the halftime show 3 years ago, we already felt like that was the most hip hop, beautiful halftime show ever. And now for you to come back and be the first solo hip hop artist to headline, how does it feel being the artist to hit that milestone? And, just your thoughts on what that means about hip hop's progression and impact over the years.
But that shit, it made me think about like the grind of it. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't see like the story before the glory, man. And that shit's like shuffling out your mixtapes and, going to neighborhoods and parties.
What I really like too is the fact that what this shows is that it's possible for any type of rapper to be on top. Not just you can't only get your pop rappers to be on top, because for a long time the structure was pop rappers. Kendrick Lamar isn't really a pop rapper. He's a lyrical MC. Seldom, very often do you have an MC who is at the top of the heap. You always have a pop rapper that is at the top of the heap. Somebody who can make. I mean, I can name the gatekeepers like Jay-Z, Eminem, Wayne, Snoop Dogg, Drake. Like, just to name some people from the past. And then of course you got your newer people, Chance the Rapper. Some of those rappers have the ability to rap and then turn around and be doing like a lot of pop music on the back end of that. A lot of melodic, you got your Futures and your you have your Playboy Cardis who can do your quintessential rap. Then they can do their pop rap on the back end of that. Kendrick Lamar is not really like so and so known for like pop rap for real. He's like really like a more lyrical, more black consciousness type of rapper. And those you don't really see those too much. You don't really see unless you're speaking about like maybe a Public Enemy or a Mos Def or even the Roots, those type of rappers, Sister Soldier, those type of rappers who are like are really pushing consciousness. Common, those type of rappers. Those type of rappers don't really get that push because I guess the industry doesn't think that it's marketable for somebody who's lyrical and also doing conscious music, and also talking about like religion, to be honest, because Kendrick talks about that, and being able to like sandwich that all together and just say, here, take that and market that for me. Take what I do in music and market that for me. And then also still being able to like have a little bit of pop rap, but it's not like it's a small selection of pop rap. Like small. His selection of pop rap is like very vast, very small, in my opinion.
And performing there, hole in the wall spots, it reminds me of the essence and the core response of rap and hip hop and how far it can go. So for me, that should mean everything because it puts the culture on the
I
forefront where it
deserve
needs
it
to be
all.
and not minimized to just a catchy song or verse. This is
There
a
we go.
true art form.
Yeah.
So to represent it on this type of stage is like everything that I've worked for and everything that I believe in as far as the culture. Like I live and die by it. This shit done changed my whole family life. So I don't take it for granted at all as far as an art form, you know?
It feels like that was a lot what this year was about too, right? Like you I guess, you took it and put it on your back and you felt like a line needed to be drawn, right? Was that, you know, was that your intent when you rolled out this year? Was like, yo, I'm drawing a line. Like, this is what it is.
My intent was to always keep, I think from day one was to always keep the nature of it as a sport. You know, I don't care how motherfuckers look at it as far as like uh as a collaborative effort, that's cool too. But I love
You
when
like
artists
battle.
grit
You
their
like
teeth.
battle
Like I still
rapping.
watch battle raps.
Yeah.
I
You
still
like
watch
battle
Mac
rap.
URL from Murder Mook to
Oh man.
Lux to Tay Rock.
You really
My
tapped
bro
in.
Daylight.
You
This
tapped
this
in.
has always been the core definition of who I am, and it's been that way since day one. So I don't think it was a thing for this year. It was always just a continuum. And what I will say about this year, it was more from a space where I think a lot of people was putting rap to the back, and you didn't see that. You didn't see that grit. You didn't see that bite anymore.
Because
So I
everybody
always
want to
took
be
that in
friends in rap
consideration
music.
and going into any type of my music.
That's interesting.
That's why.
So I hope this makes sense, right? We've been following your journey for about 15 years, and you have been so consistent in the messaging and the focus, like you said. And you've always moved with integrity. So, in a lot of ways, I feel like we thought we knew exactly who you were as an artist in a positive way. And then last year, it felt like you unlocked a whole new dimension for us. But that person, like you said, was always in there. But I'm wondering, do you still surprise yourself sometimes? Did you surprise yourself last year, or was it just us, the fans, with our jaws on the floor, just stunned?
That's a good question. Surprised myself? Nah, I don't
Right.
think I surprised myself because this for me.
I'm just still wondering where is the other, like, didn't they, wasn't there like a report that like he did like there's like a 15-minute version of it's not like us, but Euphoria. Isn't there a 15-minute version of Euphoria? Where is that at? Like, where is the 15-minute version of Euphoria? Can we hear that? I really want to hear that. Like, I really feel as though, like, just like Nadeska said, like a lot of the things that have to do with a lot of the things that have to do with you know what he surprised us and shocked us with was just, it had to be put, it had, somebody had to like take it there. And who else but Drake, making Kendrick take it there? Didn't he said in Euphoria, if you take it there, I'm taking it further. Like, bro, Drake took Kendrick there. And can't nobody be surprised about the outcome of what all transpired last year, bro. And now where we are now, regardless of whether Drake is suing Kendrick Lamar or UMG, or if it even matters if he's suing. It's just like take the loss, move on, make your music. You're still making money. You didn't lose your fandom. You're still making your streams. You didn't lose anything. It was just your time to get taken away from that spot. I'm sure at some point somebody's gonna come and take the reins of the spot Kendrick has now. And Kendrick is soaking up all the, I'm not gonna say fame, but soaking up the spot that he has right now until he's either taking himself away from that spot or somebody goes for another sparring session with Kendrick Lamar, and Kendrick Lamar has to do what he has to do, and something must be done. But at the end of it all, Kendrick Drake, J. Cole are all the gatekeepers of this newer generation of music. At the end of the day, when you look at it, they're all the gatekeepers. Whether Kendrick loses the spot in the next 2 years or whatever, he's still identified as one of the heads on the one of the I guess one of the leaders. Same thing with Drake. He's still a leader. J. Cole is still a leader, no matter if he punked out of a beef or not. No matter if Drake lost the beef. No matter if Kendrick Lamar won the beef. They're all leaders in this generation. They're all looked at as legends and veterans. A lot of artists under all three of them have taken their influence from all three of them in some form or some way. So I take it as I take it as a learning lesson and something to just study a little more.
And for my partner, who've been around me since 2005, 2006, like my brothers, they know my personality. They know my capabilities, even when it wasn't presented to the public at first, right? So this is just like a revolving door of what I've been doing in Carson Studios, at the Homie Garage, or my brothers at TDE, or just anybody around the city of Compton in LA. It's just magnified to the level where I've progressed it and did enough hours to know, okay, I know where to place it now. I know how to make it connect with people.
It feels like each album too, getting to this point, was an album for the culture, and it was an album for the critics. You know what I mean? And then it was for the critics,
yeah.
And then GNX comes along, and it's like, nah. This is an album for anybody, everybody, and anybody who want it at any time. And you brought that energy, and the energy you brought on GNX was an energy that I don't think was really happening in hip hop. Like, it's a Public Enemy level energy. It's a Ice Cube, America's Most Wanted energy.
Sure.
Like, it's a classic, timeless energy. Talk about your headspace between Mr. Morale and this GNX.
Yeah, no, that's great. Go back even further, man. Speaking on that energy, like, it's my cousins was like DJ Quick, and Dre, these folks that my people was playing. So I always had that DNA. And you heard that DNA a little bit on Good Kid, Mad City, but I wanted to tell my story first, right? And fast forward to GNX, I felt it was just a perfect time because not only the energy was lost, but it was the energy that was bubbling inside of me as well. I wanted to go back to the forefront of just the bite and just the grit of rap, just all raps and hard ass beats. And that's like the basics for me. I thought about, what I used to like when I was a kid. Hard raps, good beats, that's smacking, right? And it was a great transition from Mr. Morale because that was my most intimate. I wanted to go inside of my own psyche and my own personal withdrawals and see how it connects with the public and who can relate. So during this time around, I think it was necessary of coming out of that cocoon and feeling like, okay, I arrived now.
Yeah, see?
I can spread my wings and show.
See? Him taking himself out of that isolation phase where it felt like he was done is more sufficient in telling of where his mind was versus where his mind is now. So crazy.
Every state of who I am as far as Kendrick Lamar.
And you really did spread your wings. I mean, you just came off a huge Grammy wins. You walked away with 5 awards, and you won Not Like Us won for Song and Record of the Year, which in itself is remarkable. But I think for people who love and respect hip hop and the roots of this culture, the competitive spirit of it, it has been a little bit mind bending that you created this massive cultural award winning anthem out of a battle rap song. And how is that something after you got off that Grammy stage, you got home in some quiet time? What was going through your head?
I was just thinking about the culture, really. It's always that for me first. I'm not even bullshitting with you. It's like when people talk about rap, man, the conversations I hear, they think it's just rap and it's not an actual art form. So when you put records like that at the forefront, it reminds people that this is more than just something that came 50 years ago. They forget that it's even been here 50 years, right? And like kind of like belittle it. So I love to see that it gets that type of recognition for just straight raps, from awards to the billboards, all that, because this is truly just as big as an art form and a genre as any other genre. So that's what I think about. And I feel accomplished being able to do that. You know, whether somebody else come behind me and do it again and quadruple it, I love to see it. If that was my purpose to do that, then that's exactly what it was for that particular moment.
I think people often miss the significance of that Record and Song of the Year award, because that Song of the Year award is a songwriter's award. Like, it's not just the biggest song. It's like someone wrote a
Exactly.
song. And you as a songwriter, when you see your name up there and it's written by Kendrick, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's powerful. And I think to what you're
Mhm.
saying, I think there's a lot of people who have become fans of hip hop, and they, you know, you like the songs you hear and know, but you're not actually tapped into the work that it takes for
Yeah.
you to generate
Yeah.
the output, the art.
Exactly, man. As a writer, you know, and that's what I can appreciate the most. And knowing how much time I dedicated over the years and just trial and error.
And then not even that. Like, what about the songs that the songs that you didn't actually write? You just like freestyle. I'm pretty sure a lot of GNX is just freestyle. A lot of it is just freestyle. And I love that. I love the fact that like an artist like him can just go in the booth, sit with a beat for like 5 hours, 8 hours, whatever, and just freestyle something effortlessly. And then what all you gotta do is worry about like a hook or a bridge or something like that. And voila, you have a song. I mean, it doesn't work good for everybody, but for the ones who are seasoned and are capable of making something amazing, I salute, as I salute him.
Error. Writing the most terrible shit to some of the greatest shit. You know, we all do it, from writer's block to figuring out how to find inspiration from the most non-popular aspects around me. So it's like knowing that trial and knowing what I put in as far as my thinking process and what it takes to get there. I do not look at it as a small like endeavor because it's a hit record. No, it's actually some writing in that shit. You know, whether it connect with you on a spiritual level, whether it connect with you on a comedic level, whether it connect with you just on a personal dynamic, it's still from a writer's point of view.
Yeah, you are an incredible writer. There are songs on GNX like Reincarnated. I didn't know what to do with that
Facts.
song for the first few
Nah,
times I
facts.
heard of it, just trying to figure out where you possibly came up with the inspiration for a record like
mean,
that. Like,
Tupac.
when you're working on those songs, are you going through multiple versions until the right thing
Exactly.
comes to you? It's
How
just
many
it's hard to
versions of
fathom,
that
I
song
guess is
is
what I'm
there?
saying.
Yeah, well, records like that. First off, shout out to Tupac. That's number one. That was always one of my favorite records from him and Outlaws. With records like that, it's always going into my mind of like, what if, right? And crafting out my what if ideas to the masses. So when I think about concepts and I think about what I actually believe and what I feel, I just go through a breakdown as if I'm reading a book, and how I want people to hear this from a book sequence.
This is
So
beautiful. I
my
ain't gonna
initial
lie.
process is, okay, how can I open them up to the story, and how can I drive them to the ending point to make them feel truly exactly what I'm trying to convey, whether they take their own perspective from it or they take mine. I just want you to feel it first. The
And
the
people
writing
say
is
he's
there. Now it's up to me
people
to perform it to where
who
you
aren't
feel it.
used to his music say he's boring, bro. This is whatever what he is explaining right now is how you craft a masterpiece, how you put together a masterpiece of a song, and that's just a song. Can you imagine how his mind like travels when he's putting together an album? Like, bro, this man is not just a regular rapper. He's like, bro, he's F Gary Gray or something, bro. He's thinking beyond. Like his mind is on some Steven Spielberg stuff, bro. For real. Crazy. Right?
Yo, give it up for this guy, Kendrick
How you
Lamar. Y'all
even-
keep quiet, man.
Bro.
This guy, this guy he doesn't sit down and do this too often. So this is a very special conversation.
This
we
remind me
appreciate you, bro.
this remind me of when when Red Bull did the interview with MF Doom, and MF Doom was explaining his process of how he makes like rap records, bro. It's like in the same vein. It goes hand in hand, bro. Like when it's like really culturally centered and your heart is in it, and not just like your what is it? Not just your eyes, looking at it with your eyes, and using your desire of wanting money being in it only. That's when you know you have an incredible artist. And he's not the only. And I'm sure there are many artists out in rap music, outside of rap music, who think just exactly how he thinks.
Really do. And shout to SZA too, because you guys are making
Yeah,
history
man.
right now.
SZA.
Hell
and
yeah.
and you've seen her from her humble beginnings, like she's seen you from your humble beginnings. You've watched her find success, and now y'all sharing the stage at the Super Bowl. Got this humongous tour that's rolling out next year. Talk about this moment in both of y'all's career. Have you guys had a chance to even see each other in this moment and be like, yo, like
We haven't even had a chance to crash out about it because everything been moving fast, like far as production and rehearsals and stuff. So we speak, but it's not. We haven't really got a chance to settle into the moment. For me personally, watching her, her career and where she's come from, it's amazing to see. I get to finally see how certain individuals see me come up in the process because I seen her day one coming in the studio and writing songs, throwing away songs, writing another song, throwing away songs. And songs is hard. And I understood that process though, wanting to be great. Even when people saying this is classic records, you're like, no, I'm gonna write another one. And I understood that and I seen it. So to see it now magnified, it's like she always had.
I can't even lie. There's a lot of records that Kendrick Lamar has thrown away that you can randomly find on TikTok or hear on YouTube that is just like, why did you not like officially release that? I think I heard something from the days of Damn where I'm like, yo, why was this song not on Damn? Like, bro, there like it reminds me of the time when his first album came out, Good Kid, Mad City, and there's like a deluxe version of Good Kid, Mad City where there's what's the name of the song? Why you only babysit 2 or 3 shots? There's a like there's a full version of that song that's like almost 14 minutes long. I'm like, jeez, bro. It is true what they say about rappers whose first album is like their whole entire life. Because Kendrick Lamar's first album, which is Good Kid, Mad City, is like literally like almost his whole entire life's work. All of the lyrics in his journal like are in that song or in that album rather. And the deluxe version of that album lets you know how much he put into the album because it's like this is my first like it's like this ain't my first rodeo, but it's like now that everybody has their eyes on me, I'm gonna give you everything I got, basically. And that's how I feel about a lot of his thrown away songs or songs that never got like put on like DSPs. It's just like this is a beautiful song. This is an amazing song. Why is this not somewhere where I can like actually listen to it besides YouTube or TikTok or whatever? Well, I feel like that for a lot of artists, actually.
Had it, man. She always had it, and I'm just honored to be next to a talent.
Yeah, you've both worked really hard to be here in this moment. And on Heart Part 6 is really amazing to hear you detail that journey for old and new fans, you know, coming up through the ranks at TDE and now launching your own agency, PG Lang. So performing at the Super Bowl halftime show is very much, you know, us as fans getting to celebrate you and this beautiful musical legacy, but also now you're stepping out as an entrepreneur. What has it been like to build your own business and to also showcase some of that creativity from your agency on this platform?
Oh man, I love the process. Shout out to PG Lane. Make some noise with PG Lane. Yeah, that's my team, man. It's 30 incredible individuals, 5 extraordinary executives that work day in, day out to make sure we are doing something that will long live the culture. You know, from a music standpoint, from a creative standpoint, fashion, film, books, day in, day out of just being around like-minded individuals that have different perspectives outside of just music. So through that process, it was a challenge for me, but even more a process of me enjoying, okay, different ideas and different backgrounds and how to look at things. Um, I love it. I love it. Being on calls and, you know, formulating business ideas and ventures outside of my usual norm, it challenges me. And I can't wait to see what happens next. I know it's going to happen next.
We
I,
can.
I think for the audience too, you know, and anybody watching around the world, the PG Lang thing is, you know, I think people see you as an artist and someone who makes music, but I don't know if you want to share it today, but the level of detail that you yourself, along with Dave and shout to the whole PG Lang team, but y'all as friends that came up together, you in the edits. Like what we're gonna see on Sunday is a PG Lang production.
Yes, that's all PG Lane. That is us sitting day in, day out from the edits, the production, the stage design, the music, the sound tech. It's everything across the board, and it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of creative individuals. I can't sit here and say it's all me because these are people that are just as passionate and want to see us win, but also want to put out something that lives a long, long time. And with Dave's creative mind, it's just he's insane, man. That dude is like Basquiat in so many different fashions. You know, you can clearly pick his brain about anything, and he'll give you an answer right down the middle to help you decide for yourself. So that's something I can always appreciate.
Yeah, I'd say with all of your powers combined, y'all are really diabolical. Like when you roll out the videos, all the visuals for GNX, just the way you all move strategically together, it is inspiring beyond the music. You know, just thinking about how to approach life and art in a holistic way. And so when it came down to planning for this Super Bowl now, you know, you've teased on the album coming up to New Orleans with this LA energy. How did you guys approach the show and trying to figure out how to pay tribute to the classics in your catalog with this new music in like a 13-minute set list?
Yeah, it's wild. Mr. Morale is like an hour and 30-minute tour, so it's like You gotta smack the shit down all the way to 13 minutes.
How's he gonna
It's kind of wild and it's interesting because it
crush it
lets you
down?
know kind of where you at and
Pick
your perspective
from
on how
his
you think about
discography.
catalog and the music. For me, I love being present. I love being present, man. It's my favorite. It's very
Okay,
hard
so
for me to
we're gonna be getting
live in the past.
G and X.
It's very hard. I
stuff.
respect the past wholeheartedly, but
We're gonna be getting G and X.
being in the now and being just locked into how I feel and the energy I have now,
So we're getting Euphoria.
that's the LA energy.
We're
for
definitely
me.
getting
That's
Not Like
something
Us.
that
We're
I
definitely
want to
getting
carry over to
GNX.
New Orleans and
That's
for the
what
world.
that's what I feel like.
This is me. This is Kendrick Lamar, 37 years old, and I still feel like I'm elevating. I'm still on a journey though, you know. And I want that energy to ooze out into the television and to the people that's in that building.
Well, and on that, the connection between Black culture and New Orleans, and how important and shaping our ancestors
You want to
were in
know
this
Lil
town,
Wayne coming out?
music, jazz, all that. You always put our culture and Black culture at the forefront of your brand, your music. Same thing in LA. A lot of our family members moved out to California from the South for new opportunities.
Man,
So
what?
there's a big connection between LA and the South. So when you say you walked in to New Orleans with that LA etiquette and all of that, I don't know if people really grasp that, but you got to be feeling that
That's a
energy
bar.
like when you are out ready on Sunday to do your thing.
That's a bar. It's crazy, bro. Out of all my friends, LA, us growing up, all our grandparents either from Louisiana, Texas,
Mississippi,
Chicago, like period. So our dialect and how we talk, it gauges from like the South and like the Bay Area. So
That's crazy.
like going to the store, we say finna. We finna go to the store.
Yeah.
Like that's some South shit. You know what I'm
Yep,
saying?
yep.
That's not no LA, right? So that energy right there and you making that correlation, it means a lot to me for people to understand that. And the culture and just being Black, I can't help that, man. It's just not something that I think about or even
Bro,
try
it's
to like.
February.
I'm Black.
It's
Shit,
February,
just
duh.
In you, it's not on you.
Yeah, it's
Come
gonna
on,
come
dog.
out every time. I can't sugarcoat it. I can't downplay it. I'm at a point in my life I can't necessarily fake the funk for nothing. And I've always had an essence of that, but you have kids and shit. It's just like I have to be who I am authentically. And if the world can accept that, then so be it. But who rocking with it, I'm gonna put it all the way out there, whether it's in private or whether it's on the main stage.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people and a lot of artists stand in themselves as authentically as you have. And I think one of the questions we've all been wrestling with over the past few months, watching you and the way you've moved, is really what is the role of an artist? And I think lots of people have very different definitions, but young Kendrick, again, back to overly dedicated and Section 80 mixtape Kendrick, and GNX Kendrick, Super Bowl Grammys Kendrick, has your idea of what the role of an artist is, you as an artist, has that ever changed?
I don't think I knew exactly what my role was early on. I had maybe clues of it, but now today I can truly say it's to express myself and express things that people can necessarily say on the daily and for them to actually relate to. And come from the most vulnerable place where people can actually feel it. I think that is, for me, that's the role for me as an artist. I don't give a fuck what place it comes from. I could be the most angry person on the record. You can feel.
I'm not gonna lie, they asking him a lot. They really getting into that they journal. Like the desk and Ebro are really asking some Barbara Walters type questions. They're not just asking him like run of the mill questions, same old type of stuff. Gotta give him credit for asking like the real, what I'm saying, the real artistry sauce type questions, the ones that matter. You don't really see that in interviewers very much.
Feel that shit that day if you woke up and you felt that. You want to smile, you going to feel it because I'm going to make sure I'm present that particular time in the studio, in the booth, that I feel happy and I feel energized and I feel, if I feel frustrated, you're going to feel it. And to carry that as an inspiration for people that's listening that may not have a voice that, I've grew up with cats, still to this day can't have a conversation. The most meanest, aggressive individuals, but they can't even look you in the eye and express themselves the way they want to. So they resort to other things. And when I think about that, and I know that I have the tools necessary to communicate myself properly and effectively, I got to do it for them. I gotta make records like Reincarnated. I gotta make records like Man in the Garden. I have to because they feel that way, but they cannot project it. And when they hear somebody actually giving them affirmations, it allows them to speak more freely and be open. Because again, I come from the same place they come from.
Well, Kendrick, we might not see you outside again soon after Super Bowl. I know, of course, you have the June next tour. Listen, I know you also don't love doing interviews, but we are grateful. We're so grateful for all the music and the moments that you've given us over 15 years. And in the last year, your presence and your focus, it is noted. So thank you. We really appreciate it. Thanks for taking our
Thanks for
questions.
fighting for
And
hip hop, man.
Oh, for sure.
Thank you for fighting for hip hop.
it is really appreciated.
y'all.
And now, we do have some questions
kids that are gonna ask
from our
questions.
kid report.
I got one more thing for you, Kendrick. Before we go to our friend here, Hayes Adler. What should people expect to see and understand about Sunday's performance?
Storytelling. I think I've always been
That's a fact.
very open about storytelling through all my catalog and my history of music.
Very
and I've
true.
always had a passion about bringing that on whatever stage I'm on, whether it's a war tour or whether it's a 500 people at Key Club. I've always had a form of that. So I like to have you on that sense of, make people listen, but also see and think a little.
I think this is going to be one of those performances where people are going to be digging up Easter eggs for
I mean,
years,
that's-
years to come.
Definitely. Even when it's not an Easter egg, people will make one up, right, Ken?
Definitely.
Hayes, this is Hayes Adler. He's got a question for you,
What's up,
Kendrick.
man?
Hi, Kendrick.
What's going on?
How do you prepare for such a big performance? Do you have a favorite way to stay healthy and active?
Yeah. I do some laps, whether it's some sprints. If we talking about, let's go from, on a physical level. I give you that. Maybe it's a 2-mile warm up or a mile warm up. Maybe some push ups, just to get the body movement. Sometimes you be out on that stage, man, and you need some oil on your knees a little bit to get moving and get cranky. So physically, I'm just exercising the body, a little bit of stretching, a little bit of all that. And on a mental level, I'm usually playing some Isley Brothers just to calm not my nerves, but calm my excitement and just give it a balance, So that's my prep right before I go out.
Thank you, Hayes. Thank you so much. And now Alvin Williams. How you doing?
Give me a real rap nerd question. That's what I need. I need the real rap nerd question. Give me the rap nerd question. I'm counting on you, bro. Ask the real question. We need the mental gymnastic Easter egg question. Ask it, bro. I feel like it. Let's see.
I'm a little with Big Brother and Big Sister New Orleans. What has mentorship meant to you during the course of your career? And if you could thank your mentors for believing in you, what would you say?
Oh man,
That's a good
mentorship has
question.
been everything. To be around individuals that experience every little thing that you think that you're the first person to go through it with, it's a difficult task when you're a young individual because you're like, you don't know what you're talking about. But as you progress and you be like, damn, he or she was right, you begin to understand life a little bit better and not be so judgmental to people that have been here before you, right? The greatest thing I would say, mentors, a couple mentors that given me was like affirmation, to always give myself space to believe in who I am, even when I wasn't feeling it, right? You can accomplish so many small things or big things, and you still can fall in the slump where you doubt yourself. And even though these mentors haven't seen the spaces and been in the places I've been in, it was always time to allow me to share exactly who I am or how they see me and what I'm capable to give to the world. And I think that goes a long way, from people in the highest places and the lowest places. We all need them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alvin. And we have one more question from young Dylan.
What's up, Mr. Kendrick?
There you go. That's
Yes, sir.
an
Yes, sir.
artist right there.
Yes, sir. It's a truly honor to meet you. And my question I have for you is, what advice could you give to kids about not being like anyone else? And how could they stay authentic while pursuing your path?
It's a great question. They said the number one thing people feel in the room, over love and over fear is being authentic. And this is some my homegirl Ink actually. We was talking about this in the studio. She brought this in the studio. I was like, damn, how many times I've been in a room where people felt you so intensely that it inspired them and inspired the person next to them and inspired the people in their household. So how to stay authentic? Was that the question? Or you have to believe in yourself and have to know that it's only one you. You and an amazing individual, unique. You're a miracle. I wake up every day and I'm like, this shit is crazy. not crazy from a standpoint of being a celebrity, crazy just life. It's just wild when you really sit down and just think about it and just bug out on some wild shit.
No, facts.
It's wild. And to know that you are in this existence and in this world as visuals, only you have to know that you got to carry that authentic nature of allowing yourself to say, this is who I am. This is how people going to see me and also going to respect me. And it's going to inspire people to have truth, because when everyone's authentic, what comes out of that is true love. There's no boundaries. We don't have any courtship on judgment. We don't have any perception of being able to ridicule anyone, because you showing up as your true self, I'm showing up as my true self, and carrying that nature to take you places. Appreciate
His
you.
answers are just as thoughtful as in the music.
Yeah,
It's
right?
ridiculous. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you, Kendrick.
Appreciate you.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for the great Kendrick Lamar, please. Thank you so much for your work and your dedication.
We
Thank
appreciate you. Go
Appreciate
out there
y'all.
and have fun on Sunday.
Yeah, that performance is gonna be crazy, bro. For real, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be dope. Let me see what else I got. Let me see. I just seen this video, so I want to give it a try. Quick. Want to give it a try.
3 years ago, you couldn't tell nobody that Lil Baby would fall off, man. Like,
Because like I said, if you ain't go up there on that platform and say, turn away from all this, turn away from this type of music you listening to, and it's clean music out here that's good. It's better
This
music
is
out
a
here
video
that's
called
edifying
"Is
for your
Holy
soul and
Rap
your mental.
Replacing Secular
If you're not doing
Hip-Hop?"
that when you go up on that stage, then it's like, what are you up there for?
So that's an interesting way to look at things. There's a lot of rap today. A lot of rap today is very like dark nowadays. I ain't gonna lie to you. A lot of it is dark. You know, a lot of it is not edifying to the soul. You know, there are a few artists that I could say that's like real.
I said, y'all heard who it was, man. Alano. Shout out Alano Addy. Yes, sir. Especially if you don't copyright me. Shout out to you, baby. But speaking of, we got this little reaction going. I know y'all see the title. You know what I'm saying? Is this where I should cut it for YouTube? Is this where I should cut it for YouTube? What's bussin', baby? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another
Just a
reaction
reaction?
video. So I ain't in the way of big homie.
Let me actually find a dang video then. Because I was thinking this was a video. This is just a reaction. I'm not about to be reacting to a reaction. That's hustling backwards. Let me find the video. Why Christian rap? Or actually, you know what? Let me scrap that. Go somewhere else. I think I got another one. I got another reaction to do before I just call it quits, because I'm 2 hours in and it's 1 a.m. I gotta go to sleep. If I say let me look at, oh gosh, I love a good. I'm a sucker for a good documentary, man. Pause. Let me see. Dang. I wanted to do some music video reactions, but I guess that's just gonna have to be on the next one, or I just have to do it another time. Let me see. It's a Martin Lawrence documentary right here. I could do that. I think this one is interesting. Let me look at this right here. This is, I always like looking at a what you would call it. I always look,
But these weren't Hollywood people. They were a couple of Southerners with stars in
this
their
thing
eyes who
always do
dreamt of being on TV.
Hold up.
Marcus and Joni built their fledgling Christian TV network. with
Hold on,
225 million.
Start it over. Let's try this again.
In the 1980s,
Shout out to Not the Good
a pastor
Girl.
and his wife decided their God was telling them to start a television network. Their names were Marcus and Joni Lamb, but these weren't Hollywood people. They were a couple of Southerners with stars in their eyes who dreamt of being on TV. Marcus and Joni built their fledgling Christian TV network into a $225 million giant known as Daystar.
Oh, wow.
The Daystar network broadcasted internationally and built up a loyal audience with millions of daily viewers. And if you know of Kenneth Copeland, Joel Osteen, or Joyce Meyer,
I know
then
all-
whether
I
you're
know
aware
all
of it or
about
not,
them.
You know of Daystar, as those big names all have their shows on Daystar's network. Marcus and Joni became multimillionaires, living in mansions and raising their 3 children with no expense spared. Once adults, the Lamb children all became executives. at
What's so
Daystar,
crazy
as did their
about,
spouses. It was
like,
truly a tax-free family
and I
affair.
don't want to
See,
make
while
this
Daystar
about
has no
like,
regular church services and no
you
congregation.
know, I don't want to make this about like race or anything like that, but I have to. I don't know why, but white evangelists always get caught up in something. Like I can't tell you how many documentaries I've watched about like the what is it, the Bakers, Tammy Faye Baker and her husband, that scandal, Jimmy Swaggart, what was dude's name, Keith Hagen. A lot of these white evangelists that have gotten in trouble and gone to, you know, Hillsong Church scandal. Like, there's so many different like white evangelists that have been in the news, have gotten in trouble for doing stuff that they're not supposed to, and just like basically playing with God and using God to basically get rich. It's terrible. It's terrible what greed and sexual morality will make people do when they have like power. It's crazy. I mean, versus people who really have a hunger for Jesus, who really have a hunger to know Jesus, who really have been blessed with talents to be able to go and like use their talents for Jesus, and Jesus has rewarded them for staying down and just using all that they have in them to give thanks to the Lord. You know? It's crazy.
Because it's a broadcasting company. The IRS allows them to classify their TV network as a church. Therefore, everything is tax exempt, including the company's private jet that they took family vacations on. But that would be the least of their troubles. Daystar isn't run like a corporate enterprise. It's run like a family business, full of drama, scandal, and dirty secrets.
Wow.
Secrets that became known
I
to
didn't
the
even know
public
that.
once one of their adult children had enough. He not only stood up to his parents, but told the world what they had done and the monsters they protected once the cameras and lights were off.
Wow.
Suddenly, news outlets were reporting on the Lamb family drama. Their biggest show ponies pulled their shows off the Daystar network, and viewers demanded their donations back. This is a story of family, a story of scandal, and a story of deep betrayal by a mother who claims to love her son.
And this is on days. This is about days. The Daystar channel. The people who own the Daystar channel. It's crazy, bro.
This is the rise and fall of Daystar. Before we begin, a quick word from the sponsor of this video, Delete Me. Let's talk about something creepy. Data brokers. Past addresses and the names of relatives can be time consuming. Well, Delete Me searches all to get your personal information removed. We need to go back to their roots, which for Marcus Lamb began on October 7th, 1957 in Cordele, Georgia, also known as the watermelon capital of the world. Marcus Lamb Sr. and Mary Louise Lamb ended up raising Marcus in Macon, Georgia, where he claims at the age of 5 he accepted Christ into his heart. Not much is known about Marcus's childhood, but he likes to tell the story of how he began preaching at 15 years old. 1 year later, he skipped his senior year of high school and enrolled at Lee University, then known as Lee College. He received a full scholarship and majored in theology. After graduation and throughout the 1970s, Marcus began traveling the United States as a traveling evangelist. During one of his visits to South Carolina in 1980, he stopped in Greenville to preach at a Pentecostal revival happening at a local church. It was during his sermon where he laid eyes on a girl named Joni and felt his heart flutter. Joni Trammell was born in Colleyville, Texas in July of 1960. When she saw Marcus preaching that day at her family church, she was taken by the way he commanded the room of believers. The two soon began dating, eventually becoming Mr. and Mrs. Marcus and Joni Lamb 2 years later in 1982. 1 year prior, Marcus had started the Word of God Fellowship in Macon, Georgia, and it's unclear whether this was a church with a building or just what Marcus called his traveling ministry. In my research, I assumed the latter, being that the newlyweds hit the road to preach in 20 different states, with Joni singing before every sermon Marcus preached. But constant travel across the country wasn't conducive to starting a family, nor did being a traveling minister pay very well. On a trip to Israel less than a year into their marriage, Marcus claimed his God spoke to him, instructing him to build a TV station. They invested what savings they had. Joni claimed they dug a transmitter out of a dumpster, and their first station was started in 1985 in Montgomery, Alabama.
crazy.
It was called WMCF TV, but they called
Wow.
it 45 Alive. It was the first Christian TV station in the state. At the time, Marcus was 28 years old and Joni 25.
How do you even
Not
start
long
a
after, their
television
first child
station?
was born. His name was Jonathan. Elated as brand new parents, Marcus and Joni never could have realized that their baby boy would one day light the match that would start the process of burning their empire to the ground. Their daughter Rachel was born in 1990, and that same year they sold WMCF TV to the Trinity Broadcasting Network, also known as TBN. TBN is the largest Christian-based TV network in the world. With cash in their pockets and feeling like a change, the Lambs packed up and moved to Texas, where they launched a new station in Dallas called KMPX TV 29. TV 29's first live broadcast was of TD Jake's New Year's Eve service at the Potter's House Church. In 1992, Marcus and Joni had their last child, a girl named Rebecca. They were now a family of 5. By this time, TV 29 was reaching 6 million viewers and doing so well that they decided to expand. On New Year's Day in 1998, they launched the Daystar Television Network. They chose the name Daystar after a Bible verse. 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 19 reads, "We have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn, and the Daystar arise in your hearts." As the Daystar Network hosted a lineup of pastors who paid for broadcasting, including Kenneth
look at
Copeland.
this.
Marcus himself was also part of that lineup,
Kenneth
and Joni
Hagin.
decided she wanted a show of her own. It was a women's show called Taking a Break with Joni, later
That's
renamed
another
to
one
just
I gotta
Joni. In those
watch.
early days, hardly anyone attended their shows, and staff members were sometimes made to fill in as the studio audience. But that wouldn't last for long. By 2003, Daystar moved into a 90,000 square foot building that gave them 17 highly developed studios to shoot from, as well as the ability to use more special effects. That same year, a pastor who had only been preaching for about 4 years decided he wanted to be on
Joel
TV.
Osteen.
His church was called Lakewood Church and located in Houston, Texas. His name was Joel Osteen, and he launched his
Look
show
at
on the
young
Daystar
Joel Osteen, bruh. My goodness, I didn't even know who he was back then. Look at young Joel Osteen. He got to be, bro got to be the most hated man in all of Houston. The most loved, either the most loved person in Texas or the most hated person in Houston. I don't know. I can't put my foot on it. I can't put my finger on it.
network. Big names like Jesse Duplantis, Joyce
Oh, yeah,
Meyer,
that's
and the
another-
infamous
Jesse
Hillsong
Duplantis is
Church would
another
soon
one.
join the
Oh,
broadcast
man.
lineup. And Daystar
Brian
kept
Houston.
getting luckier and luckier. With Marcus's ties
All
to
the,
Israel, Daystar
imagine that. All those people have scandals attached to their names. Scandals, corruption, all attached to their names. It's crazy. It is crazy.
was given a license by the Israeli government in 2006 to become the first and only Christian TV
Who
network in the
and
entire
who-
country.
which
Under
people
the
will
Lamb's leadership,
manipulate
Daystar not only
Christianity,
grew into 100 television
Huh.
stations across the U.S., but
That's a-
became
that's
prominent on
another one
every
right
major
there.
cable and satellite provider in the world.
A segment for Daystar called the Celebration Creature Feature. And we've got Chris here from the Fort Worth Zoo. Chris, it is so great to have you.
Thanks for having me. Oh, my.
Oh, my goodness.
This is Kristen. Kristen is bringing, this is
Kristen,
Betty.
you're not scared of Betty?
Hi, Betty. Yes, very interesting.
And she is a
And it's supposed to be, and it's supposed to be a Christian television station.
Did you feed her before she came today? You know what? She only gets fed on Tuesdays.
What,
so you
do
have nothing to worry
pythons
about.
like to eat lambs?
What's
They
that?
don't eat lambs, do they?
Not this size. When she's full grown, she'll eat a lot larger food. She's coming over here to me.
Honey, you know what? There's a scripture in the Bible that says that if you take up serpents,
Yes.
they'll not harm you.
Right now, she is about 11 feet long. We can kind of stretch her down this way a little bit.
Okay,
Grab this
and
end down
how,
here.
and, how
There we
much
go.
does she weigh, Chris?
She weighs about 45 pounds right now.
And how
Look
big
at
is
Rob
she?
Parsley.
She's full
Rob
grown.
Parsley
She's
is
about 20
another
feet
one.
long and will
Oh,
weigh
my
well
Lord.
over 200 pounds.
20 feet long.
Oh, yeah. She's still got a lot of
She's
growing
just
to
a
do.
baby.
She's about 8 years old right now.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Okay.
my goodness. So will she ever have any
Oh, the
babies?
texture is just-
They terrified. Look at them. They terrified.
Let's get her a boyfriend.
Get her
I mean,
a
a
boyfriend?
husband. Wait,
That's
Christian, tell us.
terrifying.
Get her a husband.
According to their
Terrified.
website, Daystar is broadcast in over 2.3 billion homes worldwide. By now,
2.3
Daystar was bringing in
billion?
hundreds of millions of dollars a year. After
Billion.
graduating from Oral Roberts University, their son Jonathan became director of operations at Daystar. He met and fell in love with a woman named Susie. Susie studied divinity at Christ for the Nations Bible College and business at Dallas Baptist University. After Jonathan and Susie married, the couple began hosting a show on Daystar called The Green Room. Marcus and Joni were so happy their eldest chose Susie as his wife.
I wanted to say something about Susie. She has brought so much joy and love and fun into our family. And Jonathan, you and the Lord did
It
great.
feels fake.
in choosing Susie.
I don't know why.
Thank you so much.
I don't know why, but it just feels fake the way he's saying it. The way he's like, "Oh, we're so glad that you chose her as your wife." Like, bro, it feels fake. I feel some sort of like fake declaration in there somewhere. It doesn't sound genuine at all. Like maybe his dad probably meant to say, "I'm just glad that you're married and not just like out here, you know what I'm saying, doing whatever."
Blessed, I definitely think God had something to do with it, directing me to her and giving me the confirmation that she was the one. It made it easy on my part.
Thank you. And we thought that early on, if you remember correctly, we kind of found out.
Because I said, what about that Susie girl? I like her.
Somehow I found out and I looked her up on Facebook. You weren't quite as Facebook savvy as me.
I still am not.
And then I showed you a picture and you were like, oh.
Now you know women. Now you know when it comes to a mother and her son, no woman is good for it. No woman is good enough for a mother's son. So that feels like performance to me as well. Like what his mom just said. It doesn't feel genuine either. What she just said. I'm like, no way. There's no way. There's no way. Like nobody's good enough for a mother's son. You know, same thing with a father and his daughter. Nobody is good enough for a father's daughter. Like in any household, it doesn't matter what household it is. Like that's just in life. That's society for you. So I don't believe what she just said was genuine.
And so we started asking Jonathan questions like, where is that?
And
where's that
Jonathan
one
was
girl?
not very forthcoming. He was very
Of course not.
guarded.
Yeah. Jonathan has to.
He don't
take
want
things through
nobody
her.
I was never
to
going
know.
to divulge too much about somebody until
Exactly.
I knew for sure.
He's
I
a
didn't wanna-
secret squirrel.
Rachel, the second oldest Lamb child, is director of communications at Daystar.
this is their
She's
daughter?
married to a man named Josh Brown. Together, they regularly appear on Daystar's Ministry Now show. Josh was born and raised in Australia and is Daystar's director
Australia.
of business development. The youngest Lamb, Rebecca, hosts a podcast that her husband Jonathan is executive producer of. Jonathan goes by the nickname JW. Along with his wife's podcast, JW also handles some behind-the-scenes operations at Daystar, and he and Rebecca are sometimes on-air contributors. The Daystar network had truly become a family
The
affair, and
empire.
each child had been born into a life of luxury. Marcus himself drove a Maserati.
Watch
the Lamb
out now.
children attended expensive private schools growing
Watch
up,
out now.
had their university tuition paid for, drove luxury cars
got
that belonged
money.
to Daystar, and documents show that Rebecca's husband, JW, was given a loan from Daystar
That
in the amount of
evangelical money.
$780,000 to purchase their home, meaning he didn't owe a bank for their mortgage. Their mortgage was owned by Daystar. With the adult children and their
It's crazy.
spouses on payroll, and with Daystar loaning them their most basic needs and more, Marcus and Joni had full control of their livelihoods, livelihoods that would be fraught with tension, control, and scandal. But more on that later.
A lot of
Together,
control.
Marcus and Joni hosted Daystar's flagship show called Celebration. The show was an hour-long program broadcast 5 days a week. Joni also loved to perform with the Daystar band. Marcus and Joni were very careful about their family image, making sure that employees photoshopped their waists, whitened their teeth, and made them appear younger in every image. Their entire
Why?
media room was behind a locked door, and the Lambs told their media employees if it ever got out that they were photoshopped, they would be terminated immediately. Here's a
Oof.
former Daystar employee
Wait a minute.
talking about that very thing.
I had been there for quite a while before I had earned any sort of trust to do some of the more secretive things that they did. And so, for example, the marketing department was behind closed doors. You had to have a key to get into it. It was locked. And I
That's
never
crazy.
understood that. You know, why is it behind locked doors? Until one day, Jeanette came to me and said, I'm entrusting you with photoshopping the latest Lamb family photo shoot. And I was like, what do you mean? And she said, well, we have a very carefully crafted image of the family. And so the photos have to be retouched in a very specific way. So behind a locked door, with her standing over my shoulder, she supervised me as I photoshopped these images to make Joni look thinner, to make them all look younger, to whiten their teeth, to slim their waistlines, you know, all
Crazy.
these things. And I just remember thinking how silly it was
Huge.
because the person in this image was 25, 30 years younger than in real life. It was so silly. And I felt like I worked for the Secret Service or something. Like I was not allowed to talk about the fact that I photoshopped those images. Jeanette threatened me, if you ever tell anyone this is what we do, you'll be terminated. It was a big deal.
Weird.
Their show Celebration was eventually renamed to The Marcus and Joni Show, and then renamed once more to Ministry Now. Marcus and Joni were
weird,
living
bro.
the high life. Daystar now had $222 million in assets. The couple purchased a mega mansion and bought a private jet, all on Daystar's dime. They took the family on luxurious vacations and classified them
Wild,
as
bro.
work retreats. Therefore, they became just another Daystar business expense that could be written off. The couple eventually purchased multiple mansions, with two shown here.
All
One
this
mansion
with
they call
no
their lake house,
taxes.
and two mansions are on the same street. And they also own a high-rise condo overlooking the Florida Panhandle Beach.
Wow.
But the IRS was not a fan of the couple living large on a tax-free organization's dime. But according to the IRS's own rules, TV networks that have ministry shows can be classified as a church, therefore operating exactly as
Really?
tax-free churches do.
Are you
People also
serious?
became more suspicious of Daystar when NPR did an article on them. While giving a sermon in 2009 in Australia, Marcus
Really?
boasted about their charitable donations, saying, quote, "In the last 5 years, Daystar has written checks of donations to others, to ministries, to churches, to missions, to hurricane relief, to tsunami relief, to hospitals, etc., to the tune of $30 million cash," end quote. But once NPR went over 6 years of Daystar's financial statements with a fine-tooth comb, they found Daystar only gave away $9.7 million, not $30 million, meaning Daystar's charitable contributions amounted to only 5%
So
of
he
their total
lied.
revenue. But the article didn't hurt Marcus and Joni at all. Their lineup of televangelists who were doing the exact same thing didn't care. And the people at home who sent in money, jewelry, and the deeds to their houses continued to give without hesitation. Everything was picture perfect for the Lamb family.
I'm
But
trying
sometimes-
to understand. Did all these people giving money to the did they not do these believers of Christ, right? Did they not learn anything from the Bakers, Jim Baker and Tammy Faye Baker? Didn't they own a TV station? Weren't they getting people to donate in large quantities, send in jewelry and their deeds? Bro, I feel like the same thing is going on again here. How do you not learn from that time when that couple and their family was doing what they were doing, and people are still doing it again? How? Make me understand. How? Come on now. You bump your head one time. You have to learn from bumping your head. You don't bump your head again if you've already bumped your head the first time and you know what move is coming. What? Make that make sense.
Something seems like heaven, there's often hell to pay. And that's exactly what happened to Marcus when he began being blackmailed for $7 million.
Ooh,
In 2010, Marcus
$7
began
million?
privately receiving threats. Marcus tried to ignore it as long as he could, but eventually the
$7
blackmailers
million?
threatened him with a date they would make everything known to the public.
This is a very special program because we are going to be sharing our heart with you today. And I just want to say right at the front, sweetheart, that you and I are strong. And I think that our marriage is better today than it has ever been.
You are just an absolute angel, and I am madly in love with you, and you mean so much to me.
However, I do want to share something with you. And it is this. About, several years ago, Marcus and I went through a challenge in our marriage. And I discovered that he was having an emotional relationship, if you will, with someone, and that it had turned into an improper relationship.
Yeah, I take 100% responsibility. Joni has no blame. The other person doesn't have any blame. It's all, I don't even blame the devil. It's all on me.
These are some of our most private moments, but there actually are 3 people who were not involved in what we're talking about today or affected by our marital challenge they're now saying that unless Daystar pays them $7.5 million, that they're going to take our story that we just shared with you to the media.
You see, these 3 people that Joni shared with you, they're trying to take our pain and turn it to their gain. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to take God's money and pay to keep from being humiliated. I
So
guess,
you're gonna
or exploited,
continue
whatever you
to
call it.
take God's money
I'm
and
so
use it for
sorry.
yourself.
I've asked God to forgive me years ago. I asked my precious Joni, and when this first came out, I said to her, I said, honey, I only want us to stay together if we really love one another, not for the ministry's sake, not even for our kids' sake. Ladies and gentlemen, I love this woman.
After having his wife announce his affair, what Marcus didn't say in that broadcast was that his affair, which had started when Marcus and Joni were in their early 40s, had gone on for 7 long years, and Daystar money, not personal funds, had been used in the affair. He also didn't say who it was with. It was none other than Daystar's vice president of programming and sales, a woman named Janice Smith, to whom Daystar paid lots of hush money upon her
Hold
exit.
up. That was a lot just now. Hold on. Rewind. That was a lot. What?
Marcus didn't say in that broadcast was that his affair, which had started when Marcus and Joni were in their early 40s,
Bruh.
had gone on for 7 long years.
7
and Daystar money, not
years?
personal.
So the reason why the person is asking for $7 million is because the affair went on for 7 years, bro. So you left all of that out. For what reason? Crazy.
Personal funds had been used in the affair. He also didn't say who it was with. It was none other than Daystar's vice president of programming and sales, a woman named
And of
Janice
course,
Smith,
it's
to whom
somebody
Daystar
on
paid
the
lots of
on the
hush money upon her
inside.
exit from the company.
It's not somebody
the
from the
Daystar
outside.
IT department found emails between the two containing lewd
crazy.
statements, and another from Marcus that read, "I cannot wait to make you the next Mrs. Lamb." But even worse, Marcus and Joni completely lied. They weren't being blackmailed at all. They were being sued by 3 former employees, and the affair, along with the emails, were mentioned in the lawsuit. Marcus and Joni were trying to get out in front of the lawsuit before the court documents were made public. On November 18th of 2010, the Lambs were served a letter stating they were being sued by their 3 previous Daystar employees. And wouldn't you know it, only 12 days later, Marcus and Joni aired their celebration broadcast in which they said they were victims of blackmail and admitted to Marcus'
So it
affair.
wasn't
After this
blackmail
happened,
at all.
Marcus
They
called
just
all the
lied.
employees down to the studio because he had an announcement. Once everybody was there, he sternly said, "If any of you are thinking about suing Daystar, you better think again, because we just finished taking care of 3 people who tried to bamboozle Daystar." The meeting lasted only 10 minutes before everyone was told to return to work. And by taking care of, Marcus meant they had countersued the 3 employees, but down the road, both lawsuits were eventually dropped. But at the time, only 2 months after the first lawsuit, they were sued again by another employee who claimed Joni's father, Bill Trammell, who also worked at Daystar, sexually harassed her by touching her inappropriately during what he called quiet time.
SA?
The lawsuit was filed in Dallas and alleged that Joni's father, Bill, created a hostile work environment. Some of the
SH?
documents from the lawsuit read, quote, "During quiet time, Mr. Trammell would make the plaintiff hug him tightly for extended periods of time. He would often put his hands very close to the plaintiff's breasts or buttocks during these extended touchings. On more than 2 occasions, Mr.
Wow.
Trammell told the plaintiff to sit on his lap." End quote. Marcus and Joni called the
yeah,
claims
they're cooked.
outrageous and denied anything had
They're
ever happened.
cooked.
A Daystar employee even mentioned in one of the lawsuits that Joni was so controlling that she told her who she could and could not date. Then Marcus and Joni went even further, deciding to appear on Dr. Phil in 2010, in Season 9, Episode 63, titled "Scandal in the Ministry," where they perpetuated their lies by stating 3 individuals had said if they didn't pay them $7 million, they would make the affair known to the media. Because Dr. Phil's team loves to hit YouTubers with copyright strikes, I can't play the audio for you from the show, but I'll tell you that Joni was made out to be the hero of the story, who said, "We're not paying the extortionists that money. We will share our story and come clean."
Try to make
Joni
the
also
made
went on
out to be
say that she had
superheroes and
always been a
stuff.
woman who said if
Made
her
out to be
husband ever cheated
victims.
on her, she'd get divorced. But she said she prayed about it, and her God told her that Marcus was worth fighting for. But if they had got divorced, while Joni would have gotten a nice payout and possibly alimony, who knows if she would have been allowed to stay on at Daystar. Especially since
At
in
all.
Christianity,
Nope.
the men are considered the leaders, and a woman's role is only
Nope.
to support her
She
man
wouldn't
and
have
the
been able
family.
to stay on.
She most likely would have lost her shows and her job. Marcus went on to
Mhm.
tell Dr. Phil the reason they didn't make the affair known was because their counselors told them if they put the affair out to the public, they wouldn't be able to fully heal. So they continued presenting a picture-perfect Christian image of marital harmony while daily asking for viewer donations. While on Dr. Phil, Joni referred to the affair as a trap Marcus fell into and blamed social media for wrecking relationships, saying that the couple now has each other's passwords for all social media accounts and computers. When Dr. Phil asked Joni why she wanted to come on the show, she said it was to
He
help
was in
others
his
see a
flesh
way
at that
through something
point.
like this, as she's always been passionate about helping people. Dr. Phil then asks Marcus, "Why did you never come forward before this alleged extortion
Yeah,
attempt?"
why?
To which Marcus replied, quote, "Well, Joni and I wanted to have plenty of time to heal. We wanted to have a track record of living right
Cap.
and doing right. Plus, our children were
Cap.
young, and we wanted to spare them the
Cap.
pain of this until they could at least be old enough to be
Why-
able to
why you
handle it."
lying?
End quote. Joni added that they had always planned to share their story since they had always shared everything with their audience. Dr. Phil brought on the Lamb's
Yeah.
marriage counselors, two friends of theirs who are regular on-air contributors on their show. The bigoted male counselor was quoted as saying, "At least he had an affair with a Christian woman and not a transvestite."
What?
Marcus later told Dr. Phil, quote, "You know, so many other shows
Why
have
would you
invited
say
us
that
on,
on
but most
live
of them,
television?
it's a sensational angle. But we know how loving and redemptive you are to help people, and we felt safe to come and share my heart. If somehow I have to be humiliated to help prevent somebody else from getting in a situation like this, or if they're in a trap right now, that maybe this will give them hope and they'll get out of that trap and they can be healed, then that's why we're here to share today." End quote. There was no mention of court records that would have detailed the affair, and no mention that the so-called extortionists were actually former employees who had to endure years of covering for Marcus and his mistress's lies, which put them in a toxic work environment and under such an extreme amount of stress that one of them had to be hospitalized. No, Marcus and Joni had gone on Dr. Phil out of the goodness of their hearts, and it worked. Their television audience forgave them, Dr. Phil threw them softball questions, and none of the lawsuits touched the Lambs during all of this. Marcus and Joni had got out in front of it and spun the narrative just in time. In fact, these lawsuits wouldn't be examined again until 13 years later in 2024. But back in 2010,
Why?
the Lambs had an image to uphold and wanted to move forward after their Dr. Phil
That didn't make
appearance.
any sense.
After all,
Why?
Daystar was now the second largest Christian television network in the world. And only
Yeah,
a couple
money-
years
money
before, in
will-
2008, Joni released her first book, an autobiography titled Surrender All, Your Answer to
Money
Living
will
with
make
Peace,
people do
Power, and
things,
Purpose.
man.
Joni was determined her
Money
book
will
would be on a
suppress the
bestsellers
truth.
list no matter what.
It's
In an
crazy.
article from that time, NPR reported, quote, "According to court records, Daystar's primary revenue comes from selling airtime to other religious programmers. Its secondary income is donations. The documents show that between 2005 and 2011, Daystar took in $208 million in tax-deductible contributions from viewers through on-air pitches. Moreover, evangelists who bought airtime on Daystar or appeared as guests on the network received more than $500,000. Of that sum, $92,000 went to the Reverend T.L. Lowry and his foundation, on whose board of directors Marcus sits. But that's not all. The article goes on to say, Daystar spent non-donation ministry income on expenses that included over $572,000 in sponsorship and expenses for a Christian NASCAR driver named Blake Cook, a $2.3 million loan to Reverend Frank Harbor, Marcus's former special assistant and golfing buddy, to start a church that defaulted on the loan, and $97,320 spent at retail bookstores to buy up copies of Joni Lamb's autobiography, Surrender All, helping to drive it onto a bestsellers list. End quote. Daystar responded to NPR that the
Crazy.
$100,000 they spent on Joni's books were given away as premiums
Wait
to
a minute.
donors.
They spent money. They spent money on her books so it could be on a bestsellers list, and then gave away the books for free. I ain't gonna lie, that's what you call cheating the system, man. Wow. So they bought the amount of copies they could so it could go on a bestseller. Man, people with money can do anything they want to do. For real. That's crazy.
Regardless, Joni got herself on the bestsellers list. Not long after the announcement of the affair, Marcus and Joni began having a man named Doug Weiss as a regular on-air contributor regarding relationships. Doug Weiss claims to be a recovered sex addict. He's a psychologist and the founder of Heart to Heart Counseling Center, which specializes in treating sex addicts and their spouses. Doug's wife, Lisa, worked with him at his counseling center, and the couple did many outreach projects together. Over time, Doug and Lisa became good friends of the Lambs. Doug likes to talk about genitalia a lot. In the following clip, he takes Romans chapter 12, verse 1, and distorts it to match his sermon on the male anatomy. Romans 12:1 states, "I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship."
Versus
Here's
what
a
he
video of
what he
Doug
talked
talking
about.
about having a blessed penis.
Misinterpretation of the
You
Bible.
can have a cursed penis, or you can have a blessed penis. I'm in for blessed penis, amen? If you're going to have a penis, you might as well have a blessed one, amen? All right, so I want to tell you how to walk under sexual authority. Okay, here it is.
Oh my God.
Let's go back to let's go to the book of Romans for a moment. I'm going to give you the three owners of your penises. Three owners of your penis. So if you're writing, that's what it would be. Three owners. Okay. Sorry, my Bible wants to go the wrong direction. Okay, Romans. There we go. Therefore, I urge you, brothers, in the view of God's mercy, to offer your penises as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God. This is your spiritual act of worship. Now, I know I took a little liberty with the words bodies. How many of your penises connected to your body? Okay, good. If you have problems with that, see a doctor. Okay, so, but the first owner of your penis is God.
Marcus and Joni's former
That was
executive
crazy.
assistant from 2007 to 2011 was
wild.
interviewed by the Roy's Report. Her name is Lisa Anderson.
That was
Lisa
sick.
shared what really went on behind the
That was
scenes.
brutal. That was very hard to watch just now. That was very hard to watch just now. It's one thing to read a Bible and not know what is in the Bible, but it's another thing to read the Bible and misinterpret scripture in the Bible. That was terrible. That was hard to watch. And I hope he's not still a pastor. I hope he's not still evangelizing.
Scenes from her time there. Joni regularly came into work with her hair wet and no makeup on so she could get it done by the Daystar hair and makeup team before going on set to film her show. Something pretty normal in the entertainment industry. But Joni wanted to be waited on hand and foot. She refused to put gas in her own car or even touch her gas tank, nor did she clean her own car. She had a member of the Daystar security team fill up her gas tank and clean her car on money provided by viewers to be Daystar donations. She even made sure that when she left work, somebody on the Daystar security team had her car running with the door open the minute she came out of the building. If it was during the hot summer months, he was supposed to have the door closed and the AC on for a while before she left so it would be cool once she got in the car. But that was nothing compared to how she treated those who worked closest with her. She would ask her executive assistant Lisa political questions, specifically what she thought about Obama being president. Lisa tried to avoid mixing politics and work.
Because she's black? But that's I'm not gonna lie, that's outrageous. Asking her about Obama just because she's black is bro. White. Oh gosh. White some white Christian people, bro. Oh my goodness. Are like closeted, like, you know what I'm trying to say. Yo.
But Joni was
'Cause she's
constantly
black,
overstepping.
bro? Like-
Lisa was given a Daystar BlackBerry phone and was on call for Joni 24/7, even on holidays. One Thanksgiving day, while Lisa was eating with her family at her parents' house, Joni called her and asked her to go to a bakery and pick up a cake and drop it off at her house on the kitchen counter. But the house wasn't empty when Lisa arrived. The Lamb family was inside their dining room enjoying their Thanksgiving meal. So Lisa left the cake on the counter unacknowledged and left the Lamb family mansion to return to finish celebrating the holiday with her family. Worse than that was the time Joni had Lisa handle her stool samples. For medical reasons, Joni needed to send off her
Ew.
stool samples to be tested. So she had Lisa bag her stool in biohazard bags.
Oh,
Lisa then went
no.
home and baked it into a pie and told Joni, "Eat my shit." Just kidding. Unfortunately, Lisa had to mail off Joni's poop to get tested. Lisa had been single the entire time she
Bruh.
worked for Joni, until she met a man and fell in love. When the couple got engaged, Joni demanded to know what Lisa's fiancé did for work and wanted to meet him, which
Why?
made Lisa feel uncomfortable. She said it wasn't long before Joni hired another assistant, claiming the new hire was Lisa's assistant. But Lisa noticed she began being left out while the new hire accompanied Joni to important things like executive meetings and trips. Joni also started telling the new hire things about her work schedule that an executive assistant would need to know, but didn't tell Lisa. Lisa could tell she was getting pushed out, but she said Joni liked to cover her bases, so she threw Lisa a farewell party to make it look like she was leaving on her own accord. This wasn't the first time Joni behaved this way with an employee who had found love. Lisa alleged Joni didn't like it when one of the Daystar singers began dating another member of the Daystar.
Let me guess. It's the black background singer. Let me just see if I can guess which one of these singers it is. I'm gonna say the black woman in the middle. Maybe I'm wrong, but if she did that to her assistant, who was a black woman, I'm thinking it's that middle black woman right there that she did it to. Let's hope I'm wrong.
Band. The man ended up quitting, and Joni didn't speak to
Oh, it
the
was a
singer for
man.
some time. Lisa noticed that many of the women who found true love would not be at Daystar for very long. She
Wow.
assumed this was because Joni liked having people on call 24/7 and didn't want her needs to be interrupted by another person's spouse who might be critical of the time they spent away from home attending to Joni. Some other things Lisa noticed during her 4 years at Daystar were that while the Lamb girls were allowed to wear short skirts, Joni would get on to any employee who dared to wear a spaghetti strap shirt. Another thing she noticed was that Rebecca and Rachel, who were both in college at the time, were put on salary while not working at Daystar. Lisa said occasionally they
Nah,
would
that's
come on to a
wild.
show to smile and say hi for a small
you
segment,
serious?
especially because Marcus loved having them there. But they didn't actually do much, and they certainly
Daughters
didn't work their
on
regular
salary while they was at college. You want to talk about keeping money in the family, bro? This goes beyond like just having an empire for your family, bro. This just feels like bloodline royalty type stuff going on here. Are you serious?
One time, while Joni was getting
And other employees are getting underappreciated as far as pay goes. Fuck, that's Bro, this is
makeup
so
done for a
weird.
show. Rachel was lying on a couch in the same room,
Right.
playing on her phone. She looked up at Joni and asked, "Mom, are we rich?" To which Joni responded, "We're comfortable." Lisa noticed that any time one of the Lamb children got a speeding ticket or something worse, it was always taken care of by an attorney they had on retainer, but she never noticed the Lamb children be held accountable for their actions. Although Lisa was a Daystar employee, the Lamb adult children became part of her tasks, like when she had to plan and book Rachel's graduation trip out of the country at Joni's request. Lisa told Rachel she needed to see her passport to make sure everything was up to date. Rachel refused and told her not to worry because everything was fine. But Rachel arrived at the airport only to discover her passport had indeed expired. Lisa got a call from a frantic Joni asking if there was anywhere Rachel could go without a passport. So Lisa, last minute, had to rebook Rachel's trip to another country that accepted entry with only a birth certificate. Rachel's graduation trip, Joni's stool samples, and the Thanksgiving cake are just a few examples of Joni's personal demands on a
terrible
Daystar
boss.
employee. And while someone may say all of this is just he said, she said, there are court documents validating what Lisa has said. In 2010, 1 year before Lisa was pushed out of Daystar, a wrongful termination lawsuit was filed by a woman
bet
named
she
Karen
did.
who had worked at the company for 8 years.
I bet they
While
did.
an employee, she worked jointly with
Shoot.
Joni on her namesake show. Everything was great until Karen began dating another Daystar employee. Although dating amongst employees did not go against company policy, Joni wasn't having it. The lawsuit states that on January 11th, Joni instructed Karen to terminate her relationship with the other employee. But it wasn't just a comment she made. Joni berated, belittled, and harassed Karen for 2 hours, telling her that she
Wow.
had shamed Daystar and Joni. She went on to call Karen a liar and a bad example, and also told her she was unhealthy. As if that wasn't bad enough, Joni went as far as to ask Karen inappropriate questions about her relationship. But no one at the company made any
What does
such
it got to
demands
do
on the
with the
male employee
job?
Karen was dating.
What does it got to do with the work? What is who I'm dating at the job got to do with the job? What does it got to do with my position in the workplace? Why are you trying to be personal? Like, bruh.
Joni then demanded that Karen go to counseling sessions with Fred and Anna Kendall, Marcus and Joni's 2 good friends who went on Dr. Phil with them and are regular on-air Daystar contributors. Karen didn't feel comfortable with that, so Joni said she would go with Karen to counseling, and as if that wasn't awkward enough, Karen refused because she knew that when other employees saw the Kendalls for counseling, the Kendalls gave Joni all the information that was disclosed to them in their private counseling sessions. And while some may say that's illegal because it's a HIPAA violation for a therapist to share information about a
Facts.
client without their consent,
True.
well, yes and no. The law sees things differently with any matter pertaining to a church. The law very rarely likes to get involved with what they call clergy matters and a church's religious doctrine. And if it happened inside the church, it's considered a religious matter. Being that the Daystar TV network was considered a church, they could allegedly get away with more. Then, without Karen's consent, Joni gave the Kendalls personal information about her. Karen was an employee who had received the highest overall rating of clearly outstanding in a recent performance review, and now she was being harassed because Joni was seeing red since she started dating someone. Lisa's version of events at Daystar seemed to check out with what's documented in court records. Marcus and Joni were treated like royalty as they walked the halls of Daystar. Employees would be excited if they were acknowledged by one of them, and people went out of their way to please them. What the Lambs wanted, the Lambs got. This halo effect also extended to all the Lamb children after they graduated college and began working at Daystar full-time. One former employee recalls feeling like Jonathan was the black sheep of the family. She used the words meek and mild when describing him, saying at the time she thought of him as weak and was worried the rest of the family would eat him alive. She would find out later that Jonathan was anything but weak. While everyone got along pretty well, Rachel began building a not-so-great reputation. A former art director in Daystar's marketing department by the name of Morgan Ferris shared that Rachel, while still in college and before she worked at Daystar, would come in at random with ideas of a photo shoot or a Christmas special she wanted to do. And the marketing employees who were under strict deadlines had to drop everything to accommodate her every wish. There was no saying no to Rachel, and Morgan said that when it came to her little pet projects, Rachel was, quote, very unreasonable and very demanding. Morgan said the entire marketing department dreaded when Rachel would come in. Morgan also confirmed that Rachel spoke down to Daystar staff and would even yell at them. And when it came to Rachel's feelings towards her big brother, Jonathan, Morgan said, quote, it was well known within the company that Rachel really resented the fact that Jonathan would inherit the company. She just made it very clear that she felt like he wasn't worthy of it and that she was much more suited for that role and he wasn't competent enough for it. That was just the underlying
jealousy in the
baseline,
family.
how she operated and how she treated people. I should be running this place. This is my empire. End quote.
Wow.
Morgan went on to
My
say that
empire.
Daystar felt like Rachel's playground, like there were no guardrails, and that no matter the budget or deadline, she got what she wanted, which was especially frustrating since Rachel was only 19 at the time, and this behavior continued into her 20s. Morgan's problems weren't
Privilege,
only
man.
with Rachel, however. She despised the prosperity gospel that ran rampant through her company. Once, during one of Daystar's semi-annual telethons, the prayer department was overwhelmed. The prayer department is basically Daystar's call center. It was a room with several hundred people in cubicles, ready to answer the phones whenever viewers called in to donate their hard-earned money. Sometimes during large events, all Daystar employees had to be on standby because the call center would experience such high call volume. And if they needed more hands on deck, they would reroute calls to employees' phones. Morgan received a call from an elderly woman who was crying. She had been watching the telethon and wanted to donate, but she was in a huge amount of debt and had no money. Through her tears, she said she did have a little bit left on her credit card and she was going to give that to Daystar because the person on screen said if she gave $1,000 today, God would give her $10,000 back, and she really needed that $10,000.
Yo.
Morgan felt disgusted as she ran the elderly woman's credit card numbers
That's
and knew
crazy.
she had to get out of Daystar.
That's
She used the birth
crazy.
of her son as an excuse to leave the company. Morgan wasn't the only one who had problems working with Rachel Lamb. One previous
Manipulation's
employee
crazy.
who worked under Rachel in the marketing
Why would you
department said
give
Rachel created
$1,000 when someone's and saying and telling someone? Why would people do that to regular people who make money, like who bust their butts to make a living? Take $1,000 from somebody who believes in Christ, who believes God will change their future, Christ will change their future, and just manipulate them like that. Like manipulate the faith that they have in the God that they serve and believe in, and promise them something that is not going to happen. Like, it's disgusting. Man. It's very sick. It's very sick. It gives a bad rep to like real people, real congregations, real churches who are in the business of saving souls and bringing people closer to Christ, closer to God, closer to the good news, closer to the gospel. It gives the lifestyle of Christianity a bad rep when folks like this right here, not these people right here actually, but the mother and the father of this family who own Daystar gives them it gives a bad taste to the rest of the community of believers who believe in Christ. It's utterly disgusting whenever I watch one of these, but it's always good. Like it's always good to see these because it's like there are people who are prosperity gospel preaching and deceiving people who need to know the true good news of Christ, but won't ever get to see that because all they see is like people out there pushing a propaganda and pushing lies instead of what is truly in the Bible, not what somebody is just thinking is the truth versus what is interpreted in the actual Bible versus what God actually said, what Christ actually went through, you know? So I think it's very disgusting when I look at these documentaries, but it's also very informative to know that like, man, there's actually people out there who will manipulate manipulate the trust people have and flip it on its side and try to rob the conscious people have of what Christ is able to do for people and how Christ can draw you nearer and change whatever you're going through right now currently in this life, and change it for the better and change it for what he would like you to be and where he would want you to be in life. It's disgusting.
created such a toxic environment that she reported it to Joni, who immediately told her she was being judgmental and to move on. But after nearly a year of working under Rachel, things didn't get better, and the stress was beginning to affect this employee. So she asked to step down from the marketing department and take some time to work on her schooling. Later on, she thought she would like to work in Daystar's prayer department, so she applied for their entry-level position. When she arrived for the interview, she was shocked to find that Joni was sitting in, but she tried to act normal. At first, everything was fine, but then Joni asked the two men leading the interview to leave the room. Joni then turned to her former employee and told her she wanted her to have a teachable heart like Susie. Joni told her she was on a 3-month probation period with one demand. She was to like and comment on Rachel's social media posts, but she wasn't supposed to tell Rachel or anyone else about why she was doing so. That very night, the employee liked and commented as instructed, and it wasn't long after that she received a text from Joni herself, saying that Rachel had reached out to her to ask if she had told that employee to like and comment. Joni told the employee that she told Rachel no, she hadn't said anything to her. Joni Lamb, the co-founder of a billion-dollar network that's in nearly every country in the world, tasked an employee with making sure her daughter's ego wasn't bruised while lying to her daughter at the same time. As the years went by, controlling and coercive seemed to become running themes with Joni. In 2011, after Jonathan and Susie got married and Jonathan became Daystar's vice president, Joni began grooming Susie to become the Daystar matriarch. It was no secret that Jonathan would one day take over Marcus's role as president of Daystar, and Joni wanted to teach Susie the ins and outs while making sure her other children didn't get jealous. So in the middle of a workday, she would tell her employees and family members she was going to go get her nails done, but really, she was going to lunch with Susie and giving her insider info. At first, it seemed like nice mother and daughter-in-law time together, but eventually, Joni became more controlling of Susie, even telling her who she could and couldn't be friends with. Around 2015, Joni's nephew and his
So
wife began
controlling,
working for
man.
Daystar. We'll call her nephew Bob. Bob was excited to get to be around his cousins Jonathan, Rachel, and Rebecca and their families. He and his wife truly believed they were blessed to have received such a job. The job also came with perks like free adjustments from Daystar's in-house chiropractor. There was just one problem. The chiropractor was unlicensed. He had lost his license because of an alleged assault on a minor.
Oh, wow.
This is the only photo we have of him, taken at a Daystar Christmas party. Whether Marcus and Joni knew the man was unlicensed with a record, no one knows. But Joni told Bob that it was a company rule that whenever a woman was getting adjusted by him, another staff member had to be present. Bob, not knowing about the man's history, thought it was no big deal and made sure he was always present when his wife got adjusted. Everything was normal at first, but eventually, the chiropractor began to say things that made Bob aware of the fact he didn't like him being there while working on his wife. In fact, the chiropractor seemed annoyed with Bob. He also made several comments about his wife's body during her adjustments. Then the annoyance turned to something else. The chiropractor texted Bob one day to say he wanted to take him and his wife out to dinner, but that wasn't all. After dinner, he wanted Bob and his wife to come over for a night swim in his pool. This was just too much for Bob, so he made Joni aware that he and his wife felt uncomfortable, and Joni did nothing. The
of
unlicensed
course.
chiropractor was allowed to
Of
stay at
course.
Daystar, a decision that was leading to disastrous
Nothing.
consequences when Susie went to get an adjustment in January of 2017. He had already been giving Susie adjustments for a couple years, and there hadn't been any problems, but Susie began to notice antagonizing behavior from him. One time, he remarked that he knew how to snap someone's neck in seconds. On that fateful winter's day, when Susie went in for an adjustment and had a coworker in the room with her, she thought he may have been drunk. Susie's coworker then said she had to go to the bathroom and left Susie alone with him for around 5 minutes. While she was gone, the chiropractor violently essayed Susie. As soon as she got away from him, he called Jonathan to tell him what happened.
Yo.
Jonathan was irate and called his parents to inform them what happened. Marcus and Joni were out of town, but Marcus told his son not to say anything and that he'd handle it. When Marcus and Joni returned several days later, Susie said Joni told her that Marcus paid off the chiropractor and he wouldn't harm her again. She then told
no.
Susie, "We need to protect Daystar, and I want to protect you. So don't say a word about it to anyone."
Susie,
It's
one thing
your
that you did say was
son's
that there
wife.
was an assault against you as well. I talked with Joni the night that my first broadcast went up, and she
It's your
said
son's
she,
wife.
she just denied all of your allegations.
Bruh.
And she said that was a very nice man. Now he's passed, is my understanding, if I'm correct about that. But he's just a really nice man, and Susie just makes stuff up.
That's crazy.
Bro, that is crazy.
I believe
Sorry,
you.
The man was belligerent for a while.
He showed up that day intoxicated.
Everyone was nervous with this Dr. Keith. I have no words. I can't
Why
believe
would the
that.
woman
I
leave,
thought she would at
leave
least.
her
I mean,
in
it's
the
undeniable.
room with that dude?
I thought she would at least say, "Yeah, that was."
I remember
important.
clearly the trauma when Susie called to tell me
Nah, bro.
what had happened, and it's like she was just in shock.
I'm putting hands and feet on that dude if I'm Jonathan. Like that, me holding my peace is out the window. Like my wife got SA, bro. And then the worst part about it is that my mother and my father fired him before I could like get to him. Fired him before I could get to him. and they're so protective of their network that they don't even want to do anything for me as me being their son or her being my wife. That is I see why Jonathan ended up crashing out on his mom and dad.
Shocked, like that it actually had happened.
Yo,
And I just felt like such a rush
essaying
of
my
anger
wife
that this had happened.
and
I
letting
called
him
my
go
parents.
before
They
I
were
could
in
get to him.
Hawaii at the time,
Nah,
and my dad was just like, "Okay, we'll take care of it." So taking care of
Scotty.
it was basically, we will pay this guy off. They paid him a nice sum of money. Probably had him sign an NDA. I don't know for sure.
No, I think just his last payment, maybe.
And then they sent him on his way, and that was the last time.
That's
Okay, paid him after he assaulted the daughter-in-law. Like, why not call the police and get him
Oh, it was the
reported
daughter-in-law.
and
Yeah.
go through an investigation?
Well, and
It
again,
was
that
his
just shows you,
daughter-in-law.
because Susie was not comfortable to even share that story. She did not want to have to share.
Oh,
But
okay,
given
he's
that our
talking about
daughter's
her.
story was
Okay,
out
okay.
there,
I
Susie
got
wanted to
mixed
stand
up.
in solidarity with our
So
daughter.
Susie was the
And
one
again,
who
it
got
also just shows
Beautiful.
the pattern of cover up
Ooh.
at Daystar. You know, it's better just to kind of
My
turn a blind
son's
eye
wife,
to this. It's better not to
the
report it because of
daughter-in-law.
what could happen if you do report it. It could obviously bring attention, and it could. They just didn't want to have that blowback.
I'd like to add one thing. I'll say
Ridiculous.
this because hearing that is obviously
Disgusting.
heartbreaking. Because I remember when she came back from Hawaii and they
Sickening,
pretended
bro.
like nothing ever happened. So I was expecting a conversation. So I said, "Is Marcus mad?" She goes, "Oh yeah, that was not okay. But let's not talk about it. I gotta protect you. Gotta protect Daystar. And so I was like, oh, okay. But, we paid him off. Marcus paid him and he's gone. You won't see him again. And I thought that I genuinely believe that was their protection for me. I didn't see Daystar as a factor. I just thought they did what was right for me. And I was okay with it. I remember 2 or 3 days later, Rachel was very angry. And I don't want to be vindictive in saying this story, but there's a point for me saying this. She said, look what we lost because of you. Great. And I remember going home and crying because I was like, I didn't want them to lose anything.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
What did she mean? They lost massages because you reported?
They lost the convenience because he would come up to Daystar
Yeah,
and he'd be able to give adjustments, from the convenience of the
Sure, and
client.
lots of companies do that. Like it's a benefit, right?
He
Part of
wasn't
the
even a
benefit is not
licensed
having a drunk guy
chiropractor.
sexually, essay, on company dollars,
This
and
is making
then
me mad, and I'm
and then
not
they
even
get
in the
away with it,
family.
and it's covered over. This
I'm mad
needs
for
to be
him
part
and
of
her.
the whole problem.
And Susie wouldn't say a word
That-
about it. She'd honor her mother-in-law's wishes and try to protect the empire they had built. That is, until several years later when her own daughter was essayed by a member of the family and Joni allegedly tried to silence her 5-year-old
bro.
granddaughter, victim blame, and protect the perpetrator. Jonathan and Susie would stay
Dog.
silent no more, and the entire house of cards would come crashing down in
It
spectacular
happened again,
fashion,
and they
including the
tried to
death of
silence
Marcus
them,
Lamb.
bro.
The remaining members of the family would be cast into an all-out war against one another, with Joni going as far as to allegedly try to silence the victim and secretly put a tracker on her son's car. This wholesome, picture-perfect family would become involved in scandal, cover-up, infidelity, secret recordings and intimidation, spiritual abuse, and betrayal. All that and more will be covered in
Yo.
part 2 of The Rise and Fall of
This is
Daystar.
only part 1. Nah, I'm gonna be checking for part 2 because this is interesting. Daughter-in-law got essayed, and then the incident happened again with another family, with another girl family member. Bro, it's very apparent that like the main two people, like the parents are very controlling, and they won't rest until like they have power over everything. That's what it's like deemed to be looking like. But yeah, man, it is 2:00 a.m. and I am about to get out of here. I will see you on the next one, whenever that next one will be. I don't know. Yeah, y'all take it easy.